Hey guys, welcome to the close. 2 hours to go in what has been quite a day so far for stocks right across the board. Big bounce underway right now for equities in general, but got pretty ugly there around the end of the morning as we hit what for now anyways is a temporary bottom. That is a look at where we're at right now. 1.6 for the S&P, 1.7 for the Dow and the NASDAQ, worth mentioning there. Big bounce in crypto markets as well. 8.4% here for Ethereum. That was down more than 15% at one point. Same story for Bitcoin, 1.4 at this point, 24-hour chart. Crude oil, 2% to the downside. What a week that had last week. We'll talk about some of the energy stocks coming up here. I want to focus your attention on this box right here because it's not only the consumer discretionary group leading, but specifically the retailers. Very, very strong right now for basically all of them. Gap there, 6% to the upside, leading the way. Best Buy about 3.25%. Etsy had a tough week last week. Yeah, I saw Home Depot as well, 2% higher. That's coming off a bit of a bottom there as well, but absolutely destroyed on a daily chart. I mean, it was up tremendously, but we'll have a look at Home Depot maybe. Under Armour over here, some of the durable goods makers as well in positive territory. So if you rewind the clock all the way to about 10:40 this morning, I was pointing out the consumer discretionary stock saying, watch that group because it was on its way back to break even and even a little bit positive at that point in the day. So now leading back to the upside when you can see the rest of the market landscape still very, very red. We saw crude oil 2% down. There's all the energy stocks following suit. Communication stocks under pressure here. Netflix, yeah, it continues 5.5% to the downside. EA right underneath that, 4.5%. Tech shares over here, they're looking a little bit better, specifically in the hardware equipment maker group here at the bottom, starting to go green even. Same story for software makers, but semiconductors remain under pressure. There's a look at the overall, if it'll load. NASDAQ, come on, Reuters. That's NASDAQ anyways. It was pretty red right across the board. I did notice that some of the Chinese stocks as well starting to pop back up in positive territory. For the record, it's still loading, so we won't go, oh, there it is. Now we can go back to have a quick look, guys, at the NASDAQ. There it is. As I mentioned, some of the Chinese stocks still pretty ugly here. Baidu, 7% to the downside. I saw Pinduoduo here was flying around, but I don't see it at the moment. Yeah, Lucid, 3.7. Tesla, 5% to the downside. Moderna is SSR, as are a lot of stocks today. PayPal, ugly again. Let's get off that and let's talk about a few things we were dealing with this morning. Make sure you come by every morning at 8:30 and join us in the pre-market. We get you ready for the open at 9:30, talk about everything that's moving around. We're going to get into a few of those, what we were looking at this morning at the open, and kind of walk you through how things played out. Neil's going to lead the way here and tell us about one of his trades.
Yes, sir. We're going to talk about GameStop today, and one of the reasons why I want to highlight this stock is because of what happened on Friday in a very, very similar situation, and one that I was not happy about. Tweeted out that I was not proud of the way that I traded GameStop, and it comes down to what is your A+ setup and how do you make money off of it? And for me, one of those is the pop and fade. And on my 15-minute chart, I'm going to show you GameStop. Now, this is Friday. You can see in the morning, tight pre-market action right around this $100 level, and then it popped at the open to about 103 and change, and then just fell $10. What ended up happening there is I took a short through 100, gave it a $1 stop, got out, and then watched it absolutely crush to the downside for the rest of the day. So the first thing when I came in today said if I saw a similar setup, I was going to treat it differently. I was going to allow the move to happen to the upside and then try to get in on a curl. So first things first, if we know that the tight range couldn't get past the 103, 104 area, and we're essentially gapping down to around the same prices, I knew that I wanted to see some consolidation at the open and then allow it to break to the upside, get a price closer to the top. Now, ultimately, end up very, very fortunate. It doesn't get past the 102. We get a good short. It touches the top here, really only twice to get in on the way down. You can ignore some of these dark pool wicks down here. Really, it's just a couple of minute candles with that top. And then we get into the short. Now, obviously, if I'm taking the short, I'm almost always scalping some out at the first sign of support, which ended up being at 100. Now, 100 was the breakdown price before. So one of the things I said, and every single day we come in the markets gapping down, is do not get trapped at the bottom. if you find an obvious price area where there is some support or potential for a turnaround, take some profit out. You can massage your position, but you don't want to get trapped at the low of the day on any one of these types of names that's come down so far, and you can see how badly GameStop's been hit. So I take some out in front of 100. It then subsequently breaks. I allow it to take out the bottom. However, when it makes this double bottom here, I say, okay, you know what? The getting's good. The whole time I was paranoid of a turnaround. I had 4 shorts at that time. I decided a firm was the one I wanted to hold on to, and GameStop I wanted to take my profits in this cluster here. Now, what I could have done, and when I look back in this, and we're always trying to improve, is simply look at where there was a little bit of a settle here, right at that 26 mark. And certainly, after there was support at 26, and I come back and look at it, bouncing at this 26 level, is when it does not retrace back through 97, there was a re-entry on a breakdown trade. Now, we've already taken the pop and fade, but there was a re-entry when looking back at my 15-minute through that 26 level. At that time, of course, managing multiple positions, it might be a little bit more difficult to see, but the key thing here is learning from my mistakes. Both days, the pop and fade worked just fine on GameStop, but it was how you got in. It's much different trade. Let's say you stop into this right here at like 98 in the pre-market, then it's $4 against you. Maybe you stop yourself out. But if you allow it to come up and test the high like it did on a Friday, you get yourself a better price. You're much better positioned to withstand some of the utter chaos that there was this morning. There were spreads that were twice as big as spreads that I'm normally seeing in the mornings, so you had to hold things that looked a little bit scary against you. Either way, proud to have at least made an improvement, if not a perfect trade, on GameStop here today, and there were plenty of opportunities in the market. I could have picked something easily more profitable like a firm, but this one I learned a heck of a lot more on.
Tons of opportunities anytime. You got a day with huge moves, whether it be to the downside or upside, or in this case, both. Nice move down initially. Now we're on the way back up here. You got to be able to take advantage of those when they come around because, we just went through, a year and a half of very, very low volatility. We love these kind of days as short-term traders. That's a watch list, guys. We'll jump into a few names here that we were talking about if you joined us in the pre-market this morning. If you do need that, Ms. V can help you out with the link in the chat. I just saw this, guys, on Shopify. There was a monster volume spike there right as we came on at 2 o'clock. And it looks like they're going to, it doesn't actually say what it is, but make changes to the Shopify fulfillment network. So speaking of bounces, wow, this thing just went 780 all the way up to almost 980 there for Shop.
Yeah, we're still not going to be in the money on Shopify, but that's an insane move. We're actually right now $5 in the money on PayPal as well. And we picked one that we liked here, making some bottoms, took PayPal out, took it for long 154.70, out right there 155.50 for 80 cents. And now we have $5 on the other half. But yeah, Shopify, wow, we didn't notice this because we weren't sitting right here when that news came out. But straight up to the upside right here goes Shopify. Absolutely a beast, man. Like that's like you said, Brendan, 780 to 980 basically. That's 20%. No, that's $200 on 780. So wow, a monster move up for Shopify. Only up 6%, which is sad because of how far down it was today. But a big move up for Shopify here, taking out everything that it did today. Looking at a 20-minute, nicely done. Back to, I mean, if you look at it, this is Friday. So we're not even back to Friday's levels yet, but still a nice move back up for Shopify. I'm not excited about this one. I mean, I'm already in it. I was buying in these dips, but I'm not excited to trade until we get above this about 10:30. But wow, big move there up for Shopify. And just for an out on PayPal, I just looked at it. It's going to be 158.50 or so back in on the downside, kind of like this little wick down. If we take this out, then we'll get out on PayPal. So right now we're rocking and rolling with this position.
Yeah, that's a great run by Shop, but there's so many things that are putting in the recoveries. I mean, I was short Peloton before we came back on, and this volume spike into $30 Peloton from 25 at the bottom to $30 today after the ridiculous short sell report. So you're seeing a lot of things come off of these levels. Now, in the case of Shop specifically, that's I mean, you talk about V-shaped bottoms, and you're definitely going to get one here. But in the daily chart, come on. Loaded. Shopify, this has just come off again in just a matter of sessions. You had this leg down from about a 1300 double bottom right into a 1050 support. But where this actually bounced, if you pull back far enough, like this May low here, like a 740, and then looking at U.S. prices finally, for you guys, like that wick bottom just churned through, like didn't just churn through support, it broke it by $50 and then snapped back up. So when we talk about capitulation bottoms, the volume spike on the wick to the downside is huge on the daily chart. Like that's the biggest volume spike on Shop until you go back to May of 2020. So you have the wick bottom, you have the monster volume spike. That's what temp bottoms look like. I know Tesla had one off that 850 bottom, but Shop's it's actually even more profound than the one we saw this morning on Tesla.
All right, so I'll ask the question, was that it? Let's talk about it. Here's CNBC being CNBC. The S&P 500, guys, there it is. The S&P 500 on track for its worst January ever. Those are big words for the overall market. So, yeah, I mean, it looked like a bottom. It felt like a bottom. Obviously, only time will tell, but was that it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was temporary bottom. I mean, we were going to have the Fed come out on Wednesday, Thursday here, and we should have the market start to act up accordingly to when they come through. But, I mean, it was a huge swing to the bottom here today. I called it. I mean, we were on Prad's show. I said, that's it, man. That's the bottom there. We went long AMD. We went long PayPal, made back some money there. But, I mean, they're only down 1.5 now. We were down, I think, 3.4%. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I just kind of say it tongue-in-cheek, like, yeah, that is the bottom. I mean, earnings are coming, right? Tesla's coming Wednesday, so that's going to sort of help a little bit. Tesla off that bottom of 850. I mean, clean bottom, back up to the upside. Some of these stocks continue to hold. I mean, as long as Apple wants to hold, then I think the market, you know, Apple's in so many important things. It's just tanked down here, holds that 150, where if you look at the chart here, we are well off of its 200 period. We're nowhere near that, down to 148 or so is what we have. So it's a nice little bounce back here. I don't know. I mean, I wonder how many of these names are going to get bought up. And I think there's names like Microsoft that got bought up a little bit today. Still down. Like it's hard to say these names are bought up when we're still below 300 and still down 1.79%. So is it the bottom for today? I mean, maybe. But remember, like we're answering this question and we have the doldrums of the last 2 hours still to come. So, I mean, if these are held, like right there, like I'm happy as, you know, whatever. We take a nice little win there on PayPal. But look what happened, man. It was just cruising 160, and we just got out there a 158.70 break. So, I mean, we're out there on PayPal off of a nice $4 or $5 win, but maybe we retrace back down. So I just think that, you know, there's a lot of love for a lot of these names. We got out of our Palantir, and then it started to rip up to the upside. So you could see in. Took one shot there, got out. We had meetings all afternoon, and then it just rips to the high side. So I think there's been a lot of pressure off. But, I mean, we still could easily fall back down. We need a few more days where we make some kind of a bottom. Now, hopefully the bottom isn't at 3%, but we bottom and then keep ripping up. So we'll have to wait to see. But a lot of these moves, like you're still down 4%. You're still down 4% on a lot of these names, 4% on Ford, 5% on NVIDIA still, BlackBerry 8%, I mean, SoFi 8%. So as these names go, man, there's still a lot of carnage here. Lucid battled back, but look how low that got today, $34, all the way back to 37. So I still think that there's some blood in the water. It's just, that was a nice relief. So if people can come in and buy dips, then I think that we can survive. But there's major tech earnings coming. So I definitely don't want to hang my hat that this is over.
Just sort of looking back to what happened in 2020, we obviously saw when the market fell due to COVID, and like the initial push down on the SPY, you know, we went from like a 340 right in, and it made a similar like wick bottom at 285, right? So at that point, you also put in like a 15% pullback. It then pushed right back up here, gaining about like $25 on the SPY. So it was a nice relief, consolidated, and then flushed even further. So, you know, as far as, you know, when you go from bull to bear market, if that's what we're talking about us being in, well, this is like the first salvo and the first consolidation. You know, when you see something like that, like I'm not like, temporary bottom, sure they happen, and there can be great rallies from there. And certainly that's when you want to make sure you're starting to get into some positions or buying the dips in the names that you really love. But I think it's just round one as far as I'm concerned. Like Sean said, all the big tech earnings are already, we're waiting on them. We got Netflix, that's great, but we're still Tesla, Apple, right? Like you have monster names coming this week, and we get to hear from the Fed as well. So there's a heck of a lot still to fall. We can learn lessons from the past. There will be consolidations. Even in a downward market, there are consolidations and bounces. It doesn't just go down every single day.
All right, let's. I want to talk about the overall market here, but first I want to show you this chart because it's pretty impressive. Here's RIDE. Here's Lordstown Motors, guys. Yeah, up 5% on the day. There's no news that I've seen, but some of these stocks that have just been absolutely killed in desperate need of a bounce here, maybe some short covering coming in, but all kinds of volume here as well at day highs. For RIDE, I'll flip over quickly and talk about Macy's because, yeah, 15% to the upside. We'll shift on to the overall market. I mentioned retailers off the top, leading the way here higher on the day. Macy's, pretty impressive, 15%, right back into this range.
I mean, I started the show this morning talking about XRT, right? And so that's the retail ETF. And yeah, that's 4%. So there it is right there. We talked about liking that. We liked it on the daily chart here, especially that we've come into some levels that we've liked down here, 74, so it was 75 bucks this morning, right? And so it's a nice little move to the upside right into this area. You got the good news from Kohl's. You've talked about Macy's, continues to make a run here, I think. Anyways, let's have a quick look. 26 inch, I mean, I know you just talked about it. 26 and change up, yeah, so still running up 15%, just topped out right there. We may pull back right now. I mean, it's coming into an area, but for me, retail is nice. A lot of these names will pay a dividend. It's been good, I think, with COVID or no COVID, a lot of these opportunities for these names like a Macy's, which is why they had that activist move there to the high side, right here, or not, where's the daily chart? From here, basically, all the way up. This is Macy's, had quite the run from breaking this 18 where they started talking, and you could see the volume picking up here to the upside, start talking about digitization and maybe not just spinning off, but, looking at their sort of digital side of things, and it's fallen right back in. So Macy's right now off the 200 period looks like a great long. You're trying to take out 50 period. I like it breaking above 28.40. We probably do that tomorrow, especially if the market keeps on upside. So I like Macy's here, but for a day trade, we may be getting a little top heavy now in trying to sell this thing. I may sell this moving forward, but yeah, retail, we talked about it. That's why we bring you the heat in the morning, man. XRT up 4%.
Yeah, I was looking at Macy's this morning. We talked about the chop range it had, that maybe it had gotten too far. And this is that 25 quarter-ish area up to 26. And that when it got up here, you might turn around. And it did work a couple of times before breaking out. But this consolidation break should have been had. The thing about Macy's that makes it perform so much better is, remember, the short interest, right? Like, so Macy's has that. It's got that short squeezability in there, and that's why the reversal should have been an obvious one. Like, I didn't have it. I shorted, got it to VWAP, and then got stopped out right here, and then did not take that breakout. But this is sort of, if there's a vehicle that you want as the day trading name, Macy's is definitely there, and it's because it can have these explosive moves to the upside. Sure, you get the sympathy play as the overall space goes, but obviously Macy's just a little bit more explosive. Had this move taken it past 27 into 27.5, going back into last week, it was back in the 13th, like that would have been an obvious level to short, but there was nothing really up here once you got to 27 that stood out for me. I mean, if it pushes another $1, I'd probably take a shot at it, but this thing is squeezed in the past, and it's still down like 12 bucks. From its highs, like that's still cutting like over 30% from its highs. So even with this rally today, in perspective, it's almost like a drop in the bucket for a lot of these, as impressive as it's been.
Right, as we said, big week for big tech earnings. We'll get Microsoft first, aftermarket tomorrow. We'll get Apple aftermarket on Thursday. Tesla splits the difference Wednesday aftermarket. Here's Microsoft, big wick on a daily chart. Apple looks about the same right now. What do these earnings reports, I guess, need to look like here as we get through this week, trying to get back to the upside?
Yeah, I mean, they need to look great. I know that sounds ridiculous to say that, but like honestly, I don't really know what's going to rally some of these. We just got a new position here. It's going to be Macy's. We just talked about that, so I hope that you guys are on this one with me here. Macy's trying to rally right now. We have this name, so if it wants to go to the upside, we're all over this one. But hold on a second. I just got to try to manage this. As it's starting to go right now, Macy's, we just took that long, but For me, yeah, I don't really know what's going to make NASDAQ or any of these Microsofts or the world start to rally. Come on, give me some 38s there. Still, it's not even taking out 30. Okay, there it is. Takes out 38. I don't know. I mean, Microsoft's already pretty low. I'm excited for the earnings because I'm not sure where we're going with them, but Microsoft's coming through. I don't know. We're already at the 200 period. I mean, it's just there's a lot of I don't knows here because honestly, we talked about the Fed coming through and now this NASDAQ trying to bounce a little bit. I'm not sure earnings, does it really matter? I'm not, like what can Microsoft say that's going to really change the direction right now of monetary policy, of the tapering, of anything like that. I mean, as the market goes, Microsoft's going to go. So I'm pretty happy with my position in Microsoft. I like it. I mean, I haven't paired any off, so I'm not super happy about where it's at, but I think it's holding out pretty good. I was saying this in our meetings, man. We're just back to October levels, so I think part of this has to be chilled out a little bit. It's not horrible down here. It was a nice bounce today. If we lose this 260 or something like that, then obviously there's a lot more trouble than we may think. So for me, I'm excited for Microsoft. I'm excited for Apple, and it's more just excitement to see where we go. I don't want to call that there's tops or bottoms coming through. I heard Prad say on his show that this is just an amazing opportunity depending on where you're looking at it as we start to empty out some Macy's with nice winners on Macy's. But if you do have some spare cash, I think I did put some to work in SMH there over lunchtime. So that was another buy that we just made. But I think it's worth putting something into work. But at the same time, you got to wait for this earnings season to sort of calm down. I'm excited to see where we go. I'm not excited to necessarily buy any dips.
And Tesla's the one that gets me. And I think obviously, you can talk about Microsoft and what are they going to say? So, okay, fine. Cloud's going well for them. Azure is having great sales. That all might be true, and you might get just absolutely impressive and massive numbers through them. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure it can be as volatile as potentially Tesla could be, because Tesla, from a valuation standpoint, it just stands out for all the biggest names. And if you look at where it's already come from here, pulling off a 1250 top, and then remembering where we were when we were day trading this and consolidating, and you had the 540 double bottom, you had 636 with a nice consolidation break, taking it to 800. We haven't retraced any of those levels. We broke out there in October at 800. That's where the 200 period moving average is on Tesla. So, I mean, if there is even the slightest disappointment, and I'm not even thinking there's going to be a disappointment on Tesla, but if there was, this is the one that could absolutely, if we traded at $700 in Tesla, would that be even remotely unrealistic? And I don't think anyone could say that. If we had the same percentage move, from on, say, Microsoft, if it dropped 20%, that's what would take Tesla to get to 700, we'd all be freaking out. But I don't think I'd be shocked at all if Tesla were to do that. And that's what makes it stand out. So, obviously we have a lot to be coming this week, and the Fed is really going to be what's moving these markets in reality, especially if Powell backs off of some of his talk. But let's be realistic. I think the reaction to earnings is going to tell us a lot. Where is the bid? How strong is it this week? It's great to have a relief rally today. But let's see what happens when some of the big names report, because we saw what Netflix falling did to the market. So if Tesla were to do something very similar, I think we all know what would happen next.
Just quickly here before we go, there it is. I was just going to say we're about to get into a new position. So we did short AMD here. Just looks like it's trying to take out VWAP right now, and we just short a small piece right here. We are well aware that this can rip back up. So we'll just try to hold out to this. The 50 period here, it's hard to see because there's a lot of consolidation. There it is. The 50 period is where we started from. So 112.50 or so. Maybe we lighten up a little bit higher than that if this trade doesn't work out. So we are short right now AMD. Just to see what the NASDAQ wants to do. I sort of thought that we could crash everything all at once here, but the NASDAQ's trying to go back to VWAP, and that's the triple Qs. So VWAP right now on my mind, and we'll wait for this 50 period to see where we go from there. But right now, new position is going to be short this AMD.
The overall market coming back in a little bit here as well. 42.80 was that level. Shout out to Arun that he mentioned this morning. Needs to hold, I feel, or we could go maybe back to day lows here. Speaking of, so here we go. This is a chart of relative strength versus relative weakness. Overall, the market trying to roll over here, but look at Peloton, guys, 7.3%, trying to hold this high as support currently at 29. So they like the news of possibly the CEO being removed, clearly. The Wall Street Journal reporting over the weekend, Blackwell saying they need a new CEO in this mess, and also maybe for them to find a buyer for Peloton in general. But nice looking chart.
Yeah, I mean, these are the things you got to do. You change approach, you cut costs, you know, all of these things that you want a company that's under the amount of trouble of Peloton to do. Now, obviously, some of this rally is a part of it is what happened, right? Like you get a move like what we saw back on Thursday. And if you hold up, and this happens with short seller reports, you see it too, you hold a higher low, it's almost as if it just melts to the upside. Now, I've shorted like 3 times today, different results here. We had a good short early on that we stopped the rest out on. And then I actually made this close to top wick when we just broke 30 even. But guess what? Peloton still, this was at $31.50 when the news dropped. Well, actually, it was higher than that. It was actually almost closer to 32, and we haven't gotten back to that level. So I feel like if we get to that price, I'm going to keep taking pot shots at this one to the short side. It would be difficult for it to break out unless the market's really screaming. And we just had a big reversal in the overall market. And still, Peloton, if I go back to the minute chart, look at it, holding the consolidation. This is me stopping out at 30 even. I should have jumped back into it. I did not, and I'm going to regret it. But I'm not going to try fighting this one unless it gets back to the $30 area. I took some shots at it from the new position you'll see me have on is Virgin Galactic. So I kind of try sticking it to, like the more obvious names, I want to say, like where I know the weakness is likely to be and has already been shown in the past, and it's consolidating lower. This is pre-market highs. I know there's an 850 level up there that I can leverage as well. So this and maybe jumping back over to like an Affirm, although Peloton, if it gets back to 30, is going to be pretty enticing to me. If this market, we've seen this before, like where we bounce and then, we find a bit of a rollover in the afternoon in this market. If it happens again, I kind of want to make sure I'm sticking it to the names that are relatively weak as opposed to the ones that people are really just dying for excuses to buy, right? Like, let's not try to short those too heavily on the way back up when the market's screaming. Like, if I'm going to lose shorting in the afternoon, I'm going to lose shorting Virgin Galactic. I'm going to lose shorting Affirm. I'm going to lose shorting, I don't know what, something else comes to mind, Context Logic, I don't know. That's
a shitty thing, yeah.
You know what I'm getting at, right? Like it's going to be on those. It's not going to be shorting
high value
Microsoft.
names.
Yeah, it's not going to be shorting high value. I'm not going to die on that sort. Even though Apple is still below that 158 support. So, we're going back and forth on that stock. That's a monster level for Apple, clearly.
Oh, man. Yeah, we just averaged in here, too. I mean, I think I'm shorting a pretty weak stock here, but I do know that, I heard even Trader Pratt say that he's going to be running home to buy AMD. So I maybe am trading the wrong name here, but we're short. Yeah, I don't know if he's gone home yet. No, he's right there. I don't know why he has to go home to do that, but by the time he gets home, I thought... Okay, we'll talk about that after. Okay, so here it comes right back down to the downside. So we're short 90s now on AMD. I'm bidding in the 70s. We just took some out for flat there. We'll wait to see. We're looking at that VWAP, which is at 70. I like AMD to turn over here, but at the same time, there's a lot of names like Softy that's right at a key level of 287 flat here, trying to hold that. So I think we're right in between here, deciding what we want to do on a lot of these names, man. Microsoft's been okay today. We tried to defend it, made a bottom of, wow, 275, unbelievable there for Mr. Softy. Wow, what a great bottom that was down there, and then nicely executed to the upside. You're not going to see any trades in here. We don't sit here, unfortunately, and trade during the day, during midday there, as we do have a lot of stuff going on. But Microsoft should have been a good one. And then I did notice as well, SoFi today, we tried that a couple times. We are down on this name, but if you see, let me see if I can just zoom this out here. So we were long. It's got stopped out a couple times, worked once, stopped out. And then that bottom of basically 12, which is where we went long, but then we got stopped out at 11.95 break, held pretty good. So, and then this is the funny thing. I actually have an offer right now. It doesn't matter because we missed it, but I was offering right up here into this consolidation to go back to the downside. We never got filled, but that would have been a nice trade. So SoFi right now dancing around this 50 period. Looks like it's trying to make a move back to the downside. A break here of 1280, and we may collapse further. I'm short right now AMD, which is bouncing around. It's a good trade. I'm 18 cents in the money on Macy's. You can see how this one's just been getting out on the way up. So I don't want to go short SoFi if I'm also short AMD because they're both too attached to the market right now. But I do like SoFi for the short. Actually, I may put it on anyways.
Quick word on Netflix here, guys, before we move on. I was looking at some of the energy names as well as we set off the top there. XOM. It's trying, almost positive. In fact, we were down a heck of a lot more than this. $70, obviously a key level there on the daily chart. Big wick as well. A lot of the daily charts looking A lot like that one today as oil starts to put in a bit of a bottom, it would appear, on this pullback. But here's Netflix. Yeah, 6.5%, well off its lows. Didn't even get to 350 as I put on the board there. 350 held a couple of times at the bottom here as we head back to the upside. I mean, I watched all of Ozark on the weekend, so I was trying at least for Netflix. Yes.
What happens when you don't have kids?
7 episodes.
I've been trying.
We got one in.
I've been trying to watch Ozark for. I mean, like, I just don't have the time. It's like I don't have the time, man. But I've heard it's so good. I've watched 1.5 episodes, so it's not like I haven't.
Double income, no kids.
Look, yeah, okay, that's why. It's
Dink Central over
busy
there.
But I had fun tobogganing. That was a lot of.
Yeah, we went tobogganing too.
Exactly. We had so
Watch
much
this.
fun.
Brendan, did you go tobogganing?
Yeah, see, exactly. He's not out there in -20 with the kids. But so we just talked about shorting, and I know I keep trying. I said it in the chat. I know I keep trying to say nice, like say not nice things in a nice way. So I'm not going to say short-ish is what I'm going to get at. But if you don't short-ish and try to do something like a Netflix, then maybe I'd be in a winner right now. So there is an opportunity cost to that, because if you look back on Friday, this was your bottom on Netflix. Okay, look at that 380 level. That's interesting. Look at it flush at 380, and I'm going to go from the 15-minute over to the 1 so you can see. Look at it break 380 this morning, and then where does it find resistance? So, I mean, if you walk on over and just step on Netflix, the name that already reported, and short it in front of 380, well, welcome to, like $6 winner when it's only like $2 stop. Now, personally, I've chosen to lose twice shorting a firm at the top, and right now I'm out of the money 2 cents or 3 cents on Virgin Galactic, and I don't mind it one bit, because I'd rather just stick to what has worked in this environment than try to force things. And I get it. That's a great level on Netflix, and probably it was worthwhile having a deeper look at. But if you're watching that, 380 standing out like a sore thumb on Netflix, and once again, it's down 6%. So the relative weakness is certainly there with this name, despite the fact that that is a 350 double bottom. It just bounced $27, and I'm talking about it being relatively weak. That's the market we're in.
I still like how Brendan goes, it's only 7 episodes. Like, that's 7 hours of content. But I did.
And?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy. I'm happy when we watch half a show.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, to be honest, we got to watch more than 7 hours of football. So, I mean, but,
that's a different story, man.
The kids watch football with me, which is nice. So, not as long as they have their iPad.
I didn't even tell you the worst part about the game. Like, because my daughter wanted to watch the Lorax, and I was like, Buffalo's in a very, very important game, sweetheart.
Right, obviously.
She then started cheering for KC. She's like, I like the red team. I'm like, oh, goodness. Like, yeah.
Wow. So it looks like you have your daughter to blame there, Neil, for that. My kids support the Packers, but because I own the Packers, right? So
well,
as a shareholder
of
Green Bay, maybe I should sell said shares after that performance. But so it was good. Like Netflix, I think gets bought at some point. We've already talked about that they're a possible buyout candidate, in my opinion, anyways. And when you get down to this kind of levels, why not, man? You're down 7% again today, sub 200 billion. I think it's like 170 billion valuation now as we go to the downside, looking to pick up some shares here. This is just the one day. Like, we're already at 371. So this pandemic low of 300 back in March, that's a level to maybe look at. But I still think we all start to accelerate from these points. We may have just made a temporary bottom here. So if you did want to sell anything, I can't blame you. If you are a bear, you can get away from this right now. Netflix bottom today, 350. You could get out for 20 bucks higher right now at 372. So you really got to figure out if you're a long-term investor at these levels or if you're just trying to make some swing trades, because the market will get hit again. We're still getting hit. We're still down 222 right now. It's not like this is all clear skies ahead here. The market's still getting taken to the woodshed.
In this environment, very important to not only have a plan, but come up with how to execute said plan. And we're talking about dividends today, guys, and the importance of when the market sells off in the way it is currently, not only to have some of these in your portfolio, but maybe overweight on them when we see the market trying to accelerate to the downside. We're talking dividends today and the importance of them.
Yeah, look, everyone's always chasing gains, and I think look, there's one thing to say about dividends. Of course, they pay you. Like, so it's all well and good for me to open up by saying, okay, well, let's talk about something like a Pfizer, which has like a decent 3% dividend, and on a day like today, when Pfizer's down 5%, you're like, well, who cares about a 3% yield when you're down that much? But it's not always just about that, right? So, okay, yes, you understand that this name is going to be paying you out and giving you some income. But what are the other characteristics of a dividend stock that matter? And I think you always consider in a bucket, and I'm talking about like the vaccine names and healthcare, in a bucket of dividend and non-dividend names, why you sometimes in a down market want to be overweight them is the way that they react to volatility. So, certainly Pfizer's chart does not look fantastic on a daily level. But the difference between this and something like a Moderna is something that you have to be able to understand, that part of what gives Pfizer its stability is the fact that it is more conservative paying that dividend, and it profiles differently. So it's an easy way to differentiate between names within a sector, not just so that you can build income when everything is going to the downside, it's seemingly in the markets, but also so that you can avoid some of the more dramatic moves to the downside. And I just showed you Pfizer's daily, which doesn't look very good, but here's the thing, Moderna is going to be a heck of a lot more volatile. You can look at the same thing within like the semiconductors, where Intel, sure, it's down, but it's not going to be down as much as an AMD or an NVIDIA or any of those names. Now, it works both ways. Now, they're not going to move as quickly to the upside in a bull market, but when we are in a bear market, A, you get paid, B, you have a better floor because there's other people flying to safety. So I always say, understand the sectors in which you're trading in, know the dividend names within that sector that have a good history of paying a dividend, because you don't want dividends that get like the rug pulled on them. You want a company that has a successful history of paying them out.
Yeah, I think that's easy enough to find, and that's the thing, you definitely want to have a balanced portfolio. I mean, I look at IBM here with 5%. It's been a Big Blue. What's up, Big Blue? They've had a big dividend history, obviously, and continue to pay that. So you're going to get a quarterly dividend here of 5% return yearly for this name. So you can really, when I kind of look at these names, it's just like, hey, it's a tech name, so we know it's getting beat down a little bit here, but it has a dividend that they support, right? So I think that when you're looking at different sectors, different ETFs, things like that, you got to consider, are they paying a dividend? Because, hey, at least gives you something, whether or not it's 2 to 5%. That's kind of the sweet spot for me in there. And, we look for some names like that to sort of give you a little bit of cover. And IBM is one of those names. I mean, we could pull up fancy charts to show you, but, to get paid 5% on a $130 stock, you're going to get roughly like $7 to $8 dripped into your account, right? Every single year. And then I would want to talk about drips as well. That's dividend reinvestment plans, right? So what a drip does is every time a dividend is paid, you can get it in stock as well. So your broker will rebuy that same stock for you. So after years and years and years, you can take the cash, or you could do a dividend reinvestment plan, which is called a DRIP, which I do suggest everybody looks into that one because those are very, very popular and definitely need to be used. So dividends, very, very important. But my friend Neil over here definitely hit the nail on the head. Not the most important. If you're like, you don't want to chase high dividend yields. Sometimes if a dividend yield is 8, 10, 15%, like they'll start to cut it. We've seen that happen in Macy's. We've seen that happen in Disney as well. So you really, really have to buy high quality companies that don't need cash flow, because if they do need that, then they will cut the dividend. A good example in the oil patch, they tend to give really good dividends that tend to be pretty stable. So just be careful that you're not caught in something that is like, I forget what they call them, but it's like a dividend grab when it goes too far down and then it just becomes too juicy. So watch out for those. That's
I just want to say drip, drip, drip.
Drip, yeah, I like the drip. Yeah, show off that drip. But dividend reinvestment plans, very, very important.
Yeah, great points right across the board, and maybe avoid REITs as well because they pay monthly dividends, and it looks very great on paper, but doesn't end up being the best environment for real estate investment trust. That's a little bit, guys, on the importance of dividends. I was just having a quick look at the sectors overall. Banks, guys, starting to bounce. We're seeing a little bit more in retail, back to the upside at this point as well. Wanted to quickly mention this burger. What is it called again? BTB. BD on the NASDAQ because there was a bit of a volume spike there as we were discussing other things. But three to the upside breaks. We're trying to hold back above 3. I'm going to look up the name again, but it's a burger joint, apparently. 2 million shares on the float. Starting to get a little bit of a bid here for BTBD. Yes.
The same stock we were talking about this morning. This is a burger joint. Here's the thing. I had actually no idea. But you know what? I also didn't trade it since he opened because, I mean, Brendan basically slayed this thing. So as far as I'm concerned, this is like he's the stock's daddy, and I'm not going to mess around disciplining someone else's child. So maybe, I don't know. Like if it spikes to like $5 or $6, why not? But if you look at this, it's a big volume spike, and yes, it just went $1.40. But at the open, when this rolled over at the open, it was at $4.50. And when I was looking to try to I was like, yeah, maybe it'll pop to $5 at the open. That's $1.80 from here. It would have to move another 50% upside for it to get to the level that I wanted to short the pop at 9:30 in the morning. So to say that this thing has capitulated and died is an understatement, like just an unbelievable understatement. But hey, we're not going to ignore it. If it breaks this 340 level, I'm going to look at both the open rollover here was about $3.85 to $4, and then up here at about $4.50. So those are two levels I'm eyeballing. If it's going to consolidate and break out, we're going to go and try to take a shot at it. The market started to roll over a little bit, so obviously something like Virgin Galactic's going to fall. I'm going to have some targets out. I already took one on the way down to 8 even, and then hopefully VWAP as the market pulls back a little bit here. So we're going to take some profits on these shorts, make sure we're paying ourselves a little bit here. And yeah, that's what I would have been doing if Josh Allen had gotten the ball in overtime yesterday, but he didn't. So.
Yeah, I mean, I wish he would have, but yeah, you lose the coin toss there. Okay, so AMD right now to the downside. We just cashed out pretty good on that, man. We averaged into this trade. It was a good one. We just took 80s and then took 1220s there, and the best out's almost $1 lower. So now we can hold. We've just cashed out of, I was going to say 60%. Yeah, exactly 60%. I mean, the math is easy, but exactly 60% now out of this trade. So now we'll wait to see if it wants to make some moves to the downside. Target area, like right around here, 110.80, something like that. If we can get flushed here, that'll be a spot to take some out. And then I don't mind holding just in case the NASDAQ does Puke City one more time. And then we're going to use like this 112.20 as our out. So that's going to be a spot for me to look at 112.20. We're putting the 50 period in here for a reason. It's just the markets are so super choppy right now. It's like, to take profit and then get stopped out is useless a lot of the time. So it's just like, I got to give myself a little bit more room. So I'm using the 50 period that we've kind of bounced off here a little bit. Let's see if we can retrace back down 110.90 or so. I'm pretty happy with. I don't even mind getting in a 111 bid if we can get that one more time here and take $1, then hopefully even lower than that. So I'm looking at AMD. I'm also looking at SoFi. But it looks like I missed the SoFi. I was like, why am I not in the SoFi short? Yeah, we tried to get the short 77 break, and we missed it. So we only crossed down to 75. I don't know how we missed that. Oh, is it SSR? It's SSR.
Yeah, it's SSR.
Yeah, okay, so it's SSR. So that's why. Oh, I was like, why am I not in this SoFi short? But now that makes sense. So we'll cancel that. I did like SoFi shorting here, guys. You heard me say that, breaking this 77 level, but forgot that it was SSR, so it should have crossed a lot lower. So my order kind of follows it down, but right now SoFi giving some back, and we're just going to watch out for this AMD trade we got on.
I'm just going to quickly show this one because I said last week that every single day, like I just try to short a firm in the afternoons if market makes any kind of a pop, just to prove that I'm sort of not lying about that. I did short it off 54, got some profit, got $1, and then stopped out. Then I shorted at 56, got stopped out, and then I made the top wick. I'm not like kind of the top wick. This is the top wick. The high of the day is 58.52. That was my execution on a firm. And now it's all the way down at 54.50. This is a hard one to chase. Like Virgin Galactic gave me a short, on the console at a good level. But, once I had missed out on this reentry here, like I'm not chasing a firm $3 away from the high. So I did try to get back into it. It just wasn't able to catch it, unfortunately, for myself. And the other name, which I think we got to keep eyes on, it's just Apple, right? Like when Apple got back below that 158, like that's right around when we just once it starts holding this 158 level, like the ES just curled over and came back below that 43. So there's a few important, obviously, look, there's a few important stocks, that drive the markets, but this 158 level on Apple is almost like it's a beast of its own, and we're just barcoding off of it. The further we get away from that, I think the worse I feel about the market here today. Like this is the one you wanted, this breaking of that 158 and holding above. And I feel like if that had happened, we could have actually ended with some strength. Doesn't mean it can't still happen. I mean, we're only $1.50 away from it, and the stock has had like a ridiculous range today, like an $8 something range in Apple. But obviously below that price mark is not a great sign because that was a major support on the daily.
Yeah, you're going to see me. I just took a piece out right there at 50, so my bad. I said I wouldn't get out till 11 flat, 111 flat, but I just took 50 cents on that one again. So not again, it's the same trade. We are not reloaded, but right now we're hoping that AMD maybe goes into the gates of hell, especially if the did that work? That was fast. This is more like the gates of hell. There we go. There we go. Okay, so AMD to the downside here. We'll see if it wants to test. I don't have any more bids out. Let's just let this one flow through here, maybe. And then we shorted Palantir as well. So this is a name here that just popped up right up to that 50 period. So we got short. The 50 period was 83. We took an 81. What am I short? 81 or 80? 80 bid there. So 80 offer coming in. So we'll see if it can take out this 1260 right now. Starting to head to the downside now goes Palantir. So we'll see if it takes this level out, 1268, but we'll put a bid on. We can afford to massage this trade down in. So if we can get anything like around this 70 level, I think that's probably worth it. And then if we go back up to the upside, it's not a big position because I'm naturally a bull, and especially on a name like a Palantir, I don't want to be caught short on this one. We've seen what it can do when Kathy comes in and takes it out. So I'm going to go 85s, very, very small. 5 cents down, 5 cents up. Let's see if we can catch something here on PLTR.
So everyone looking at this EXTN very quickly, I know everyone's talking, a lot of people are talking about it in heavily traded, done 55 million shares. You look at this like quadruple top, lower high, 485. Just remember that this is a merger with this company here in Toronto, this EFX. I think it also trades on the OTC if you can only track in US names. I don't know the symbol, but it is Enerflex. It's ENRFF. On the OTC market. So it's basically going to do a decent job of following this stock. So if you're looking at that top and looking for a breakout, just know that this is basically barcoding side to side that EFX. Could put a damper on the breakout and the other name EXTN there. So they are worth watching, one in the same, but look, if you're not tracking this, I'm not sure you should be trading one name and only looking at the chart without following EFX. Virgin Galactic trying to break this 810 level. I'm not moving my bid. This consolidation, if it gets a break to the upside of this consolidation, I'm adding to this. I was only going to add at 840, but now that I've taken some profit, I'd add back at about 825 to 830 where we got the first time. Brendo?
On that Virgin Galactic here, some new data from S3 out today. I mean, this is kind of, obviously. 114 billion in realized and unrealized gains so far for short sellers in 2022. Obviously, the market's gone straight down. This is space specifically, so shares shorted versus price. So still going up. The actual number they had here as well was 34.96 million shares on the short side. 354 notional, so about 16.75% on the short side for space. 3 million additional shares added to that just last week, guys.
So here's the thing: like, as someone who actually wants to go to space someday, and actually thinks that that space tourism can be a thing, I'd want to be able to tell you, oh, a squeeze is coming. Virgin Galactic is going to go to the roof when you see numbers like that. But like, think about Root. Think about Lemonade. There are heavily shorted names where you've had this play out, that same thing play out, and they just sort of continue grinding. So predicting when something like that might make a turn and get a bit of a bounce, like, you want to talk to me about like a days where there's an actual catalyst that maybe you can catch a bit of a squeeze. Those are the types of days where I won't be in love with just sort of shorting pops on this. I get it. But like, there's plenty of names where that same thing is true and it gets leaned on, and it continues to fall. And even though you think that a squeeze could be coming, as it just gets lower and lower, and the more shorts just pile into it, and that makes some sense. There is a logic to that. Like, there are days when you're going to want to try to catch a bounce. Like, look at Macy's today, right? Like, you get the catalyst and all of a sudden it explodes, but make sure there's something behind it and not just, oh, I see that, let's guess it's going to be a squeeze, let's just go long. I don't think that's necessarily the best approach, because you could just end up holding a bag as it grinds lower and lower and lower. And I mentioned Root, but whoops, I always think Root's on the New York for some reason. And I mentioned Root. For lack of a better name to go to, I just sort of like the first thing that pops into my mind in that particular case was Root or something like a lemonade. But if this will actually load up, like you get the same dynamic, and that's continued to flush. And it's the same thing. These charts would look almost identical if I were to pull up lemonade. The prices would just be different. So always be careful when you're trading these types of names, and don't assume that something like that means it's inevitable that it's going to squeeze. I think that's something people latch onto a little bit too easily.
Okay, yeah, so market's trying to rally back right now big time as the NASDAQ just starting to pop through right now. So Palantir, we're short. Okay, we got out. So we just got out of AMD, so no skin off our back there as it takes out that 112 exactly. And we did just capture that 111 trade. So good trading so far here for me on AMD as the market right now just rally city right there to the upside. So not sure what caused that. But again, our Palantir, we got nicely in and nicely out. We're still holding a third of that one. So let's see where Palantir goes. But wow, that's just how fast the market goes, man. Like this AMD, if we would have left that and not gotten out, like then we would have been killed. We had 20% left. Remember, we had 40% out there, and then out the big dog right there at 112 as it blasts to the north side as the market trying to get going now. I mean, it just looks like a blast on AMD, but wow, this is actually going here. So AMD might be the strong stock here that we're actually looking for today. So let's watch out for this name as it continues to go. And then Palantir, I don't know, this could be shorted, but very, very nervous about this one as well, as we tried longs and eventually got stopped out. But right now, Palantir also extending a little northbound right now. So watch out for that 13 break on PLTR, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going to see, I mean, I got very close to reloading on Virgin Galactic. I was just checking out Marvel because I got a question. It was Goldman asking if I liked Marvel where it's at. I think I might have said this last week, at least I hope I did, that in this pullback in the markets, in the chip space, it was an aim at the position that I'm adding to first. And I like Marvel probably next, but I'm going to let Intel report. Intel reports this week, and I want to see that. I want to see that and the reaction to it before I decide, the next thing that I want to do in the chip space. Like I said, I almost got into Virgin Galactic there. It spiked back up, got right to 824, and I was waiting at 825 because obviously, why wouldn't I just wait at that sort of round quarter number instead of a penny in front of it like I did the first time? So might have just missed that curl. I'm going to see if I can't. Now that it's made this curl here, to me, you either get that fill and you're working this to scalp back out to 810 to 815, or I'm just waiting for a better price and then a little bit higher. So I'm leaving my order in front of 40. I have no problems doing that, but I'm going to try and get now in front of that 830 level. So I am still trying to short the pops in this name. Just want to make sure that I'm not being too overly aggressive as this market does try to bounce. Speaking of try to bounce, we just had a little bit of a spike back up, and Peloton here, which is the one I thought, okay, well, it might go back to that 30 level and we get another crack at this. That just continues to grind a little bit lower to the downside. So Peloton, not necessarily giving me the move that I would have liked to see here. And then, we were talking our trade of the day was a GameStop. And I kicked myself because, I don't mind going to a firm and then Virgin Galactic. It's the first thing that comes to your mind. And you always have to have your comfort zone that you lean into. Meanwhile, when we start to show, like GameStop is coming right back to 100. It goes up, it breaks 100 by like 20 cents, and now we're back to 95. So, a lot of times it's just, you want to scan over your entire list and not just the first two names that come to mind. But GameStop 100, if it comes anywhere close to that number, I'm probably going to short it again. But wow, that's a missed opportunity. 100 clean to 95. Now we are ready. I think we are ready. I see the man at the desk. Time for our favorite guest in the afternoon show. He's there with Brendan.
He's back. He's back in the building at that. Justin Kozach, Day Trade, the World Marketing Guy, back with us to discuss some events of the day. And yes, man, were there a few. If you missed it, let's jump right into this because there's a lot to get through today here, Justin. Tell us about this Peloton note. It was a Wall Street Journal that reported it first on the weekend. Regarding to some hedge fund managers wanting the CEO to go away.
Right, so Peloton trying to catch their breath a little bit. Jason Entebbe, the chief investment officer at Blackwell's Capital, has issued a letter to Peloton's board asking them to fire the CEO fully and is asking for the company to be sold, which is not a surprise given the exhaustingly hard time they've had lately. Peloton's got a bit of a cult following. They actually did really well at the outset of the pandemic, but with gyms closed and so on and so forth, they started to really see their sales go up. My partner's sister has a Peloton, and I think everybody that I know has one of these things. Now, unfortunately, what's happened is that despite that they had a really good start to the pandemic and did really well with their shares, they're now starting to see that, maybe the end of the road is here. This could be the end of our trip. They have really overestimated what the pandemic was. What they thought could be something that's a little bit long-term just turned out to be a short trip around the block to the corner store. Yeah. So now what they're seeing is, certainly a great deal of investment in this manufacturing facility, which now doesn't seem to be happening, and halting production across their treadmills and bikes. So not sure what's happening. They're really trying to peddle their wares, but not really getting very far down the road. So the letter to the board basically said, we had this great opportunity, but now it's been squandered. And now that we see that Peloton has underperformed every other company in the NASDAQ 100 over the last 12 months, it's time for Foley to take a ride into the sunset. So we're going to see what's going to happen. I'm going to be so bold to make a prediction that in 6 months, Peloton will be sold.
I like that. I like that prediction. I was reading about this on the weekend, and I wanted to grab this article if I could. Just to kind of add to this a little bit here, because this shows you, this is at the end of last year, but 2.3 million connected fitness subscribers. Like, that's a way bigger number than I would have expected, first of all. Yeah. So they have the subscription service if you have a bike, and then they have a separate one that you can just get even if you don't have a bike, and I guess just do the exercises or whatever they offer, that's not tied to the bike itself. Yeah. I was also reading that of the revenue they gain from that 2.3 million subscribers, over a third of that revenue goes directly to music companies and record labels for the music itself that they use in some of these apps. So that's a huge number.
And my question was going to be, before you mentioned that, my question was going to be, what happened? Well, that's part of it. Yeah. I think, obviously Peloton needs to do a bit of a better job in their licensing deal, because losing a third of your, a third basically of your revenue to licensing, somebody needs to have their knuckles wrapped or potentially lose their job over that, because that's just and I get it. Record companies are typically very aggressive when it comes to revenue, but come on. I mean, you've got to be able to strike a better deal than that. And you have to be doing a better job than allowing a third of the revenue that you're bringing into your organization to go to somebody else and not really get anything for it. So the fact that they have these, what is it, 2.3 million? Yeah. I mean,
it's unreal.
I guess my question really is then, what happened? Yeah. Why is it that you can go from this height all the way down to here and be sitting in a position where activist investors are calling for the resignation of your CEO? Yeah. What a shame. They had such a great opportunity, and it's really quite disappointing.
On the bright side, it becomes, I think, way more attractive for someone. I mean, we've been talking about this for the past week or so. It becomes way more attractive when you see that number to a potential whoever it is, maybe looking at the valuation of whatever is left over from this company. So I was just floored by the size of that number. Wild. Anyways, let's talk Tesla here, because they had a bit of a tech issue that allowed some access to their cars.
Right, so a 19-year-old security researcher in Germany discovered that he could remotely access Tesla vehicles around the world and seemed to gain control of about 10 of them. Unlocking the doors, honking the horns. Fortunately, he wasn't able to move the vehicles themselves, and he was able to do this through some sort of a web dashboard called TeslaMate. So any Tesla owners in chat might be familiar with that. And unfortunately, what it did is it had accidentally exposed API keys for car owners. Imagine cars having API keys. What a time to be alive.
What a world.
What a world. So fortunately, Tesla was able to fix this problem relatively quickly, and some new API keys have been reissued. But boy, that could have been an accident waiting to happen, quite literally.
Let's talk about Apple here because, I mean, this fine is one thing, but I feel like the Netherlands specifically may be picking on them a little bit because this is not the first time they've had antitrust issues with Dutch regulators. But I had a bookmark of a website that talked about how much money Apple made per minute in I think it was 2020 or 2021. Anyways, tell them about this fine.
Right. So this is Apple, definitely not a cheap date, expensive date. I don't know. I think this we actually talked about this back in December, and this was I guess this is the end result of that first date. They've now decided we're just going to hit you with the fine, and we're not going to have the second date after all. And it looks like they might be on the hook for another fine next week if they don't meet that regulatory requirement for ensuring that third-party payment technology is made available in their apps that are available on the App Store. And of course, this could jump up to 50 million euros, a maximum of 50 million euros. So this is going to be interesting to see if Apple is going to continue to push their luck and see if they can continue to get away with this. But you know, like you said, I think 5 million euros or 5.6 million US is a drop of water in a slightly larger drop of water that is the massive bucket of money that Apple seems to have.
Maybe a few minutes, anyways, of work for Apple to take care of that.
Aren't they one of the most not the most profitable, but they have the highest valuation in history, something like that? They have like $1 trillion.
At the top it was, It was,
So 5 million euros is like whatever.
It's the kind of day where crazy things are all the rage, and we're going to tell you about this right now because when cars can fly, and there's a video of a really cool looking car that's actually flying. So this has gained roadworthiness, I guess is the proper term.
Well, it's already roadworthy, and now it's apparently airworthy. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, man, I can't wait until cars can fly, and apparently now it's a reality and not all that far off schedule. The Slovak Transport Authority has issued a certificate of airworthiness to what is called the Air Car. Probably the least original name for a McLaren with a giant wing and a propeller at the back. So a little like a Cessna 337 Skymaster, but with 4 wheels instead of 3, I believe.
Yeah, it's this prototype. It looks like actually has 4, but the production one that they're saying is only going to have 3. But yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like a McLaren F1 from way back in the day, but with obviously fold-up wings and
not nearly as fast either.
Not nearly as fast either. But yeah.
But 100 miles an hour, what is it?
It's officially the future, I guess.
It is. Apparently the future is here, and it's got a BMW engine and travels 100 miles an hour in altitudes of 8,000 feet. So you could get a decent flight out of it, and it runs on regular gas pump fuel. So drive it to your local gas station, and if the lineup is too long, maybe just take off and literally take off and go somewhere else. So
if you don't like the traffic on the way home, you can just fly. It's
perfect.
He is Justin Kozak. Check him out at TraderTV Justin on Twitter. Let him know what you would like to know more about, and he'll look into it. Thanks once again, sir.
All right.
There we go, guys.
Oh, just keep talking about Apple, man. Like, Apple was making a nice run. Like, as the conversation shifted towards Apple, I mean, the futures took a turn towards the high. Apple broke that 158 level I got in 11s here. And yeah, I mean, the second you guys stopped talking, we had this nice little down candle. No, obviously, and again, you know, 158 is a big level on Apple on the daily chart, but sort of looking at what's going on in the NASDAQ. And I have this weird gap in data on my NASDAQ chart, but we're trying to break back up towards those highs. This is what's happening over here on the ES. You had a consolidation. This is a 60-minute, by the way. A 60-minute chart. We had this consolidation, and we're trying to break back towards this 43.40 we almost got to. So, you know, Apple reclaims the level. I feel like if we're going to rally into the close, we know this has been a good level in the past. I'll try and scalp some out, and then if we can rinse and repeat it on the way up to hopefully a 160, I'd be pretty happy with it. But it was a break that I had to have, and while I got that, one way. If that's going one way, you know that Virgin Galactic was going to make a try. So I got the reload there at 30 instead of 25. So I got back into this name. I did take Macy's to the short side with the tight stop, and then I'll allow it to retest the high of the day there. But I'm holding on to, I mean, Virgin Galactic, I'm giving a heck of a lot more room. Shorting Macy's when it's that strong, I think that's a risk to reward type thing because it has so much room into VWAP, but I'm not going to be too stubborn about it. Like, I'll be at least a little bit stubborn about Virgin Galactic and wanting to sit in this short. But I mean, Apple, as I say, breaks 158, and then I'm like, I can't even scalp 40 cents on that break or 50 cents on that break. Like, that's what's going on in this market. Just immediately runs into some resistance. Wish it was as strong as Macy's today. You don't say that very often. I wish Apple was as strong as Macy's, but there you have it.
Yeah, that's for sure. But right now, so we are in a new position as well. Short Palantir right now off of this top of 13.15. We take it out, we get out. But I mean, let's just see what the NASDAQ wants to do. The reason I'm thinking that this may be a little different, it's 3 o'clock, and we really haven't started the move down. I mean, this is normally that move down, but as you can see today, we started to get bought up here on that VWAP. So this, again, I'm just going to use the Qs because I'm more likely to trade them. So if I see some key levels coming through, we may do that. But 347 right now on the Qs. So this is the NASDAQ still down that 1.5%. So we'll see if it takes out the top, then obviously so will Palantir, and that will be the indicator. But we'll see now, just to see if it does do this. It's a name that we can take a lot of shares in, so that's what we're doing. It's only a $12 name. We've seen this move. I mean, look what happens when it makes this bottom at 1170. Like, that's a long time ago, guys. 1170? Like, you're at 1290 right now. Palantir was down like 10+% or so, I would imagine, down here at 1170, all the way back up to the upside. I actually bought more, and I should have tweeted this out. We were interviewing more and more people for this, for our show, but as you can see, I bought more at 1205 today once we went out of the show. So we'll see if it goes to downside, but right now it's a nice little win. Pigs get slaughtered in this market, I feel like. So, you know, when we have a winner, we're going to take that right now. So Palantir, we just took another piece out right now at that 1290 level. So there it is at 10 cents. We'll still go to the downside. I am bidding right here 85s. So we'll see if it wants to hit us at 85 now to the downside. Let's just, okay, 80, we'll get hit at 85, I'm sure. Now, let's go over to PayPal. Nice little move as well. We already crushed this name, man. I mean, this was a great trade for us on the rebound back up. So that was good. Looks like we got out at a decent price, 159. We are taking out right now that same 50 period that we like. So we'll see if that, we did not get filled on Palantir. It bounces at 86, of course, as we're at 85. So that's that. But yeah, right now we got that one trade. And if you guys can, I know Ms. V's a little busy right now, but why don't we hit the like button if we can? We'll get Ms. V on the screen in a couple seconds. But let's hit the like button. Only 418 likes so far here today. So hey, I think we're doing a pretty good job. Shout out to
someone gets to be 420.
Shout out to Justin, although I have to talk to Justin not knowing about Apple's market cap, 1 trillion. Little away from that one. What's up, Ms. V?
Sean, you're so right, guys. We deserve much more likes. Just 50 minutes left until the end of this trading day. And if you didn't like this video yet, please do it right now. It's a perfect time. We have 3,300 people watching and only 500 likes. So team, please be kind, support the community, and go long on the like button. Back to you guys.
Yes, sir. And we don't mind answering your questions. That's what it's all about. I mean, I just have the two positions here. And of course, as usual, it feels like it's the shorts that's going to, like, why is it? I try Apple. I'm like, yeah, 158, we're going to rally into it. And then it starts going down. And I was asked Dakota asking about would I short a firm at 56.50. I wish I had. That's my answer for you. Like, this was the lower high, and it's a good one. Nice little curl. I chose Virgin Galactic on a very, very similar setup. Makes a top, consolidates lower, and I'm essentially doing the same short, which I could be applying to a firm. I just think if you're taking that trade, like, you almost have to stop it tight to this, because if it goes to the high, you might want to retest. And simply holding it, you know, like, that's a couple of dollars to the top. Like, that's 3 or 4%. That's a lot to give up. I know the volatility is huge today, but that's just a lot to give up to the top. But shorting it off at this level and giving it a tighter stop, that makes some sense to me. I'm choosing Virgin Galactic, as I already mentioned here, and then of course, let's see what happens with Apple. That doesn't look too fantastic at this particular moment. You mentioned SoFi earlier on. There's another name from earlier on today that was a mixed bag for me, and not a great one. It was a great morning, but like, Lucid was not the best. But Lucid's right back up, and you know, this morning I tried shorting off of that 37 area that stopped out. Now we're right back into 37, and Lucid, only down 3%, but if you look at the floor on the daily, like what it's trying to hold up here, that was a pretty key 36 level on the daily chart. And we're trying to hold that higher low, as we sort of speak here. And sort of looking at names that if we actually break out the top, like what actually looks pretty appealing, well, holding that 36 and then maybe trying to break back out above 37, 37.50, starting to look pretty good on something like a Lucid. Obviously, we'd like to see the ES and the NASDAQ breaking back out through those highs before digging into that. And there's no way that's happening without Apple getting back above 158, which it clearly seems like it doesn't want to do. And then another one that I was watching this afternoon, which I would love to see come back to the levels we shorted this morning, and that's DWAC. The fact that when the market bouncing here, look at DWAC just continue to go sideways. So I'd say some relative weakness. Yes, it made a good bottom, got from 60, pulled back 10%, it's down 10%, but it's come up 10% from the bottom. And it's still relatively weak because it's not retesting any of those highs as the market tries to grind higher. I think that puts it in the category of a fade for me. And the more the volume dies down in this, I might try that 67 level. I only wanted this short one time, 69 off that 70, and we got it this morning, but I feel like you might have to chase at least a little bit here, give it to 67. It's right at 66 right now. Here comes Apple again to 158. I feel like it's got to go this time. If Apple doesn't go, I'm not sure how the market does.
So when Apple hit $1 trillion, we went down 20%. When Apple hit $2 trillion, we went down 30%.
It's not
I'm talking about the price of Apple. And then Apple right now just hits $3 trillion. So every single time Apple hits $1 trillion, it pulls back. So in the market, this is actually par for the course. This is what's been happening to Apple. So we'll see where it goes right now. And if we talk about it pulling back 20%, well, if the 3 trillion mark was, I think it was 182 and change. So you take that down now, you drop this down, what, 30? Is it $30? Yeah, 152 would be $30. So 30 on 180, we're getting close to that 20% rate now, to the downside right now on Apple. So there still is a little bit more room to go. I still think Apple can test in this 150, which we were basically at this morning at 152. So a little bit of room here to the downside. Good thing we did get out of some of that Palantir, as right now the market is trying to rally. Oops, where's my 1 minute chart? Trying to rally back up. So we did take some out there we got filled, but we took it at 87. We were waiting at 85, remember? So we missed that by a couple pennies. I'm willing to average into this name up. Now I'm going to wait until like 08, 09, up and around here to take this share because I'm trying to get it out at 16. So no point in averaging now. I don't want to make it look like doot, doot, doot. But we've already captured out the profit, some of the profit here anyways. We are out of 40% of this trade. So let's see if Palantir again makes some of these bottoms as the short's been in right now. AMC was a great trade short for us earlier, man. We believed in it so much, short. And our best out, a break of 15. So that was a good trade. But you could see it did make that same high already today. Like it battles all the way back to 17. And now we're trying to crank through VWAP right now at 1575. So that's an area of concern for me heading into the close. Will the retail come in and support AMC? It's at a very, very tippy level. Like I might short this into 1612 here. I know that's pretty dangerous considering what the market's doing. If the market, now the market's starting to go back upside. So now it's starting to go. So does that mean that AMC goes or people dump AMC to buy the Palantirs of the world, so on and so forth? So let's see where this goes. I still think AMC is a decent short against this level because you also do have this high as well of 1630. So if it gets back up, we'll look at it. I don't love the long, but I don't hate it either. There it goes. So nice little spike back up. You got to sort of take out this area though, 1640 on AMC. If we can get through there right here, then I think that we can cover back up and head to 17. So watch out for 1640 break on AMC.
Yeah, and I just took some out of Apple. I'm going to see if I can't work the position. If it's going to hold this range here as we try and test higher on both the ES and the NASDAQ, then I want to try and buy back in if I can on the lower end. If it's going to hug VWAP, then maybe I get in sub that 158. The recent support was 157.40 or so. So as long as we're in front of that, I can just hold on to the position, the core position, and try and rinse and repeat. I did get into Macy's the second time. I did say as you're shorting off of these, if you're looking to short off the top, in some of these names, try to get yourself a good price and don't be stubborn into the top. So I did have a tight stop into 26.50 here, and then the high of the day was sitting right in front of 26.80. So I'm right back at it in front of that top. It gives me a chance that if it had consolidated lower and flushed, great. If it tests the top and fails, that's also good, but I don't want to die in the sword averaging into it all the way and just losing like over $1 or something on the Macy's. So I am back into this name. I'm giving it about 20 cents once again, and I'm going to try to hold on to this Apple position. And speaking of the strength in Apple, you're seeing like, I just noticed, there we go. AMAT, like a couple of strong names here. This went green a while ago and just broke high of the day. So when we keep talking about find some relative strength, we're not back above the 200 period, but this is actually made. It's almost like a W that it's put on here because it did go up and down a couple of times, but a double bottom got put in right at 130 on AMAT. And the key level for this is this gets to 139 quarters. And that's going to be back above its 200 period. So one of the things to watch, I mean, on the way down, if we're going to start considering when things try to bounce off their 200 period or break down through it, what happens if some of these names can reclaim it? I think that'd be a good, I guess, springboard spot for a lot of these names. Watching AMAT here as it just breaks out. So hopefully a few other names can start breaking the top and start carrying us higher. Let's go Apple. I want to see 160 today. Miss V.
Yep.
Hey Neil, we've got a super chat from Nicole Harris. Thank you so much, Nicole. I entered Riot at 13.07. It's now 14.80. And Mara at 19.28. It's 22.30. Great job, Nicole. Congratulations. My two strongest today. Do the stock follow BTC? I was nervous to buy more shares. Sean, Neil, do you think Riot and Mara follow BTC price?
What? I mean, yes.
I mean, bank some profit. Take some profit?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about this. I think it's better to be in the actual BTC itself than into, what was it? Was it Riot?
It was Riot and Mara. It was both.
Oh, she's in both of them. Okay.
But those are good wins, man. You just got like 15% and 12 or 13%.
I mean, Nicole, I think this is where we just have to talk about, like, you know, what your target is for these. Like, were you taking it because of Bitcoin weakness? And then today, now you get the bounce rate back. So I think that, you know, we're not going to sit here and look at charts for Riot. I mean, it's just been getting absolutely crushed. I would take the profit. If Bitcoin falls back down overnight, you'll be pretty upset not having that win. But at the same time, nothing wrong with taking pieces out, right? So for me, if it breaks, I mean, I've been using this 50 period. I think if Riot takes out like 1470 maybe, then you start to get out. But it's been a nice move back. And where's Bitcoin? So we were talking about Bitcoin earlier, Nicole. You know, when we started the day. Okay, I mean, that's not even going to move over. So I'll have to move it over. My computer is going to crash, but 33,000, you know, earlier on at 9 o'clock when Riot was moving around, right? And now all of a sudden you're at Bitcoin 36,000. So again, I apologize, it's not going, but you know, 36,000. So you've made $3,000 on the coin itself. So I think there's a lot of potential here to hold this, and I would, but at the same time, you know, understand that this is Bitcoin. So it hasn't decoupled from it. Riot's made a nice move back up to the upside. For me, it's at day's high. I would probably take a piece out on both of these names and then hold to see what happens tomorrow. Looks like you got a good winner.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd be taking some profit. Like, this is a perfect opportunity to be able to bank some out. It's almost like you get a nice little free roll. And like you said, like trading some of the equities, they can be a little bit finicky. That's why, like, the thing I decided to sell was the equity side. When I decided to trim my crypto exposure, it was the equity side that I was trimming from it, and that was in Silvergate. It's just, you know, like, you get to trim something, and it's all the same type of exposure. But that's the first place that I would sell and take profit, and not in the actual coin. But that's just obviously our opinions. The good thing about the market is it continues to go up. That means I stopped out of Macy's again. I wanted to hit, there we go. We'll hit this one for Macy's, but it's a good thing because Apple continues to grind a little bit higher. This is showing you like how, look at that wick down, like 154 we just had on Apple. But the market breaking back out here. This is the ES breaking that high we were just looking to try to get through. That's the NASDAQ. I know I'm missing some data, but breaking out once again, only down on the ES 1.25 and the NASDAQ just over 1%. Right? Like, when it seemed inevitable they were going to be down 2 or 3%, now fortunes have turned. I don't know what's up with this wick that just happened on Apple. It did pull back. Apple is pulling back to 158. 158.50 after it got to 159 there, but it never really wicked down to 157. I know, because I would have been filled on the bid had this been actually true. Just a late dark pool print, it seems.
Okay, so I actually got sidetracked here. I started putting out orders on the wrong stock, unfortunately. So we didn't get filled, but I thought we were on AMD, but we're on Palantir right now. So no, it's because I changed over and my charts didn't change. So I was starting to look at them and I was like, what the heck's going on? So let's update the charts now. All right, yeah, so this sucks. But we got short into Palantir. We're still short right now into this level. I told you we put our big position on here at 09. So right now it's at 09. It started to rip up. Our out was 15, so we didn't have any outs coming through on Palantir, but we did take that to the upside. And then, like I said, it's completely, there's no excuse. I mean, the chart, it's my bad. I was reading the wrong chart. So now we'll start to see if it comes back down to the downside right now. And then we have some concern down here, 1301s. Okay, now I think we could take this trade if we wanted it to, if we want to. So let's put a bid there. There we go. Take some 04s as it runs through us right here. But now we're going on Palantir. We have the short. So let's see what happens now into this market. Maybe, I mean, we tried to get going. We were almost up to 1% there on the market. And now it's starting to crack a little bit lower, lower, lower. So let's take some more out here on Palantir. As yes, sir, there it goes all the way to the downside. We've got a good short on now. Let's see if we can work this into the downside, into the close. Palantir trying to make a run now. But just on that riot, it started to fall back down there, I think, almost as soon as we talked about it. So I hope you're able to get some of that 15. As you can see, riot right now starting to come back down.
Yeah, but did you put your thing down, flip it, and reverse it?
Always.
Is the real question.
Always.
Got to.
Got to.
You know what's up. And someone, I know in the chat, a couple of people I saw wanted to talk about the Buffalo Bills. We've talked about the Bills already, so we don't have to necessarily go there. Maybe like towards the end of the show, but I was just pointing out, Lucid tried to just make a run to the high of the day, and Lucid closed at 37.75. It got a wick top at 37.85. I think it's got a nice little top here, but 38 probably looks like the safer breakout style play. This might actually be a worthwhile one to dip by, but you know where I went to on the dip by. Yeah, I already said, like, I'm going to play it a little differently. I got some shares back, scalped some out of Apple to be able to get some. If it barcodes off of VWAP here, but wants to grind higher, then I'm just going to continue to scalp and buy the dip. So I just actually got shares south of 158, which allows me to then hop back on the bid, you know, like that 158.50 area, and I'm just going to rinse and repeat this thing. You know, if I can pull this off and the market's going to break out, and I can just start barcoding off Apple as it grinds higher, hold a core position, but then see if we can run it to the upside, then I'll be perfectly happy to do that. What it's likely going to mean, though, if this works continuously, at some point, Virgin Galactic might take the top. I got the reload, but never, it dipped down, went about 10 cents in the money. I was sitting about, I was actually sitting greedily over 20 cents, trying to take some profit. I should have been taking profit in the 10 to 15 cent range. Now it goes right to that 840 where I was sitting since we sat down and did not get the fill on the offer. That is the last level that I'm going to be shorting on Virgin Galactic. If it takes out the top, I give up, and we'll stick with the longs going into the close, which feel like we're finally going to rally into the close. Feels like it's been a while since we've done that. Brendo.
Yeah, another one that's in desperate need of a bounce, just popping up here on volume, guys. Fisker back to only 1% down. It was 1040 at the bottom there. We're back to almost 12 here, but volume down here coming in at day highs, guys, for Fisker.
I'm just very, very shocked at the rally back in so many of these names. I mean, I'm looking at one right here with Palantir. We'll go over to Fisker. I mean, I own Fisker, and I mean, I don't know, like when there's so much blood in the street, like what are we really supposed to do? Everything was getting killed again, but this is why, honestly, you have to find key levels. We talk about that all the time, and if $10 isn't a key enough level for you, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but look at this. Like Fisker was $24 back in November. It's $10 today. The bottom of Fisker right here, you could have looked at $10 again. So you could have bought some down here. But again, like, and this is part of why trading and day trading is so frustrating, because like if you pick up Fisker, you know, on this move down, it's kind of just like here. I'll show you a perfect example. I have Palantir. So buy. The last buy right here, it looks crazy to get out. But how the heck do I know that this isn't continuing to move down to $11 or whatever it is? So then obviously when it retraces back up here, $1.50, you're like, oh man, I can't believe I got out. Sure. But that's why, you know, again, we're not sitting here, but that's why you got to use some of these lines and some technical analysis to say, hey, this is a spot where I get back in. And then, you know, when you're looking at Fisker today, I mean, I know firsthand, there's tons of people at Day Trade the World that were down getting killed this morning, and now we're positive on the day, right? Including yours truly here. We were getting absolutely cranked early on Softy, on a few of those names, and we battled it all the way back, right? Including that Palantir trade. So look at Fisker. At some point, you got to make a decision, and today, I don't think Fisker gave you one because it didn't break through 10. So this is a name that we'll have to look at if it does fall back in, but you want to try to find key levels that will hold, right? And I mean, Palantir, I thought we found one at 12. That didn't happen, so it breaks. We tried one more time, and we used 1175. Unfortunately, that broke, and you know, Bob's your uncle, and we miss it to the upside. So sometimes trades are going to work out and just flat out. Sometimes they're not. I mean, look at, I mean, I don't need to say that. That's obvious. But look at Tesla. You know, we were long here. You know, and look, if I don't get out here at 878 when it breaks, the thing goes all the way down to 852. So instead of it being like a $3 or $4 hit, it becomes a $25 hit if I don't get out, right? So it's just about sometimes being patient once you realize you're wrong, and then use some data that it gives you, like right here, right? This was a great area. So as Tesla's coming back in, you could have got long, 855, 856, because you have these outs of 850. So that's part of the issue, right? Finding names that have outs that are obvious so that if it breaks, you can get out of your shares. And if not, maybe you can hold for this $50 because, again, $5 worth of risk, you can bring it all the way back up to the upside. So, you know, always look for these bottom trades as well and find out, hey, is there a wick off bottom? Is there something that's tested before? And is there a round digit? 850 is pretty key to me on a name like Tesla.
And sort of speaking of that, like you're going to see me, I'm shorting Fisker right now. And it's just because you talked about finding a level where you know you're wrong. I mean, 1198 is the high of the day.
Right.
Look at the $12 floor on Friday, the V-shaped recovery on it. And it just is a little bit of size. It's not a ton of size, but it's enough up here at that 12 even. Now, I'm gonna get sneaky up here and actually, you know, I have my stop not even set to like, you know, breaks 12.01. I actually give it an extra cent just in case it tries to do a little bit of a head fake, but then it's just a pure scalp play. Like I'm short here at 95, essentially risking less than 10 cents with slippage, and then I'm going to start taking profit at that 10-cent mark and then all the way back. I don't need it to go that much further than like 11.75 be okay for sure, and then certainly it could go all the way down to like 11.50 and I'd be perfectly happy. But yeah, you get a level like that, I'm going to take a shot at it, especially when the market's trying to break out. Now, I'm playing Apple to the long side for the overall market, but then you can take these shots at very, I guess, great risk to reward style trades where it's not about the overall direction of the market that makes me put on the trade at 12 even. Here it's just pure risk to reward at a top where I'm not trying to play the trend overall like I am sort of an Apple. And then if we're going to really talk about the other side of the strategy, which I don't think is going to work today, but you know what? I've gone to this well, and it worked so well last week, like finding the weak name and then shorting into the rally. The mistake that I made here on Virgin Galactic was I'm always scalping this out as I get my reload. And I did not do that this time. It got the curl, and I didn't scalp anything out. And it tests back towards this high. And this time, if it pulls back off the high, I've got to make sure I get something on whatever the first 10 cents of the move is to the downside, because it's trading in that type of range. So make sure I have my bid out, just so I'm not getting too greedy on something like a Virgin Galactic. I've already bungled it once. I might not get the chance to pull back into any of these levels if it breaks out. I'm going to hit my stop, and then that should mean, well, I hope that means that something like Apple is continuing its break. Now, we didn't get to, what's up with these wicks? We didn't get to 160 here, and that would be the ultimate target. That's just where we were at 2 o'clock when we started the show. Like Apple, we pulled back to 156, went right back into that key 158 level, so $2 from the bottom. Give me $2 the other way, and we can talk about a 160. I don't think that's asking too much looking at the setup here, but I do have to keep in mind, we're flat at the end of the day. Sean and I were day trading. We have to be flat by 4 o'clock, no positions. But the imbalances are going to be coming out at 350. And, volatility like this, you get a bit of a relief rally. The last thing I want to see is Apple come out with some sell imbalance and I didn't take the profit. And of course, this is why I'm scalping out, because another big red candle comes into Apple when it tries grinding. This happened when it got to 159. That's how I got the reload. I scalped some out. It's happened when it got to 159 again. So looks like I'll be rinsing and repeating. I did get some of Fisker out in the midst of that pullback. Looks like if it's going to flush back in here, then the shorts that we have at good levels are going to work. And I'll try one more time reloading on Apple. But we get to 340 and the reloading game on Apple is done. Like I'm not taking it. If it's going to continue to test the bottom or test VWAP and test below that 158, I'm not reloading Apple between 340 and 350 in imbalances. At that point, whatever I have on, I guess we'll just ride with that. Fisker, pure $12 scalp. I can't even that's all on Brennan for even calling out this name. On volume spiking to the top, you pull up the chart, you see the $12 level. Sounds like you can look at key levels. Well, $12 even. Stands out there like a sore thumb. And as a day trader, sometimes these are your easiest type of trades because you kind of know what you want to do. The second you pull up the level 2, you know exactly what it is that you want to do because you've seen that setup about 1,000,000 times before and you can just take advantage.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we got a little bit of bad luck there because Palantir basically goes to that high level that we were looking at before the NASDAQ flushes. So, like, this is how you know it's not your day, man, or they just don't want me to short Palantir. Maybe that's what it is. It goes right up to the high there and then comes right back in. So, yeah, we, obviously made a little bit of a mistake there no, we're not in Palantir yet. On Palantir, we're going to try to get short again on this name if we have to. So that's going to be something that we're going to look at for Palantir. Short one more time against that level. I feel like it might be a good level there. To short. This is at 1320, so we will try that one more time here on PLTR and see where we go because honestly, this is a good name for me to short. I feel like it got way too high there. Like it was all the way down to 1170, so let's see if this will work, man. We'll short some key levels one more time and just see where we go. But right now it's Palantir. I want to take the short one more time into 320. That's like a name that I'm going to be working with. Right now, AMD, I still can't believe some of these longs that we had on AMD here today, but good ones in here, 111 or so. But again, you just topped out at 115. So we want to talk about some key levels. That might be a good one there for us on Palantir. On AMD, this 115.50 or so where it was early on. So let's take a look at that. But right now, I'm looking to get, see that Palantir didn't give it to me again. So we may need to find our way into a short.
Yeah, so from the ancient one asking, because of the mini market crash today, lots of short might be in EXTN. Is there a possible short squeeze play into the close? The thing about any merger where it's two companies and it's stock, look, the traders in the desks that arb trade these types of deals, like they know what they're doing, and they're really, really good at it. So to the extent that there might be some extent in EXTN, that there might be some shorters in this name, like there is the ability to hedge the other side of that with exposure over to what's the company now? I can't remember. It's EFX in Toronto. I forget the name of the company, but like it's easy for them to do, which limits the ability for there to be a large squeeze because you can hedge that position. So. Like it's kind of like there's a yes, but it's not as strong as you might think, and that's why I've been tempering expectations on this stock all day long. I know what it is that you're looking for. It's just going to be difficult for it to happen. Like those, I'm telling you, like the arb desks that do for the trade merge arbitrage, they're really good. I've been trading buyouts ever since like 2005. And I can tell you, like when you're looking for that type of move, you're going up against the absolute best, and it's going to be difficult for them to get squeezed. Doesn't mean it can't happen. Like you do see squeezes. There were squeezes on the Xilinx AMD deal at one point, but it can happen. It's just very difficult for it to. And let's go Apple, man. Like this is what we're talking about. So I didn't get the reload, and I might be done. I thought I was going to only get better prices below 158. This time it bounces 157.95. And Apple holding VWAP, holding 158, and the market breaking out, I think it's just going to run. It just feels like it. Of course, I'm probably jinxing absolutely everything to the long side by saying that, but now holding consecutive higher lows and that 158 on the daily. Apple's now churning because I got better than 158 in the last ad. We're over $1 in the money. That probably means I'm getting stopped out on Virgin Galactic. And if this is going to be a rally into the close, then I might want to temper expectations on Fisker, which my last bid's in front of 1150. I might actually just take it out in this consolidation here. Like we're only ever risking 5 or 6 pennies, maybe 7 or 8 at absolute tops on Fisker. So if you're going to be able to get 25 here, I'm going to go ahead and run away with that. Just take it here, take it out on Fisker. My stop is already in place at 850 on Virgin Galactic, so I'll lose that 20 pennies. But that'll mean Apple, decent chance to get to that 160 mark, only 50 cents away. And I am taking the profit on Apple in front of 160. That's just the way this market's been.
Yeah, Palantir, we're going to get I can't believe I love the long so much on Palantir, and here I am shorting these highs. So a breakthrough, I said initially 13.20, but I mean, got to give this at least 10 cents. So on a nice move. Look at the NASDAQ. Guys, we were down. And I sometimes I do stick my neck out and say, maybe that was the bottom. I mean, we were down, 4% or something on the NASDAQ at its very lows, and we may turn positive right now. So, let's wait to see what happens. But what a big turnaround day here for the NQs and for the whole market. I mean, the ES, I'm actually not even tracking the ES. Oh, it's still down 0.72 right now as that name continues to, or that market continues to struggle as opposed to the NASDAQ today. Looks like some more buyers in that. Let's check out what oil's doing. They were negative 1 point, but now XOM up today, just took out day's high. XOM starting to make moves as well to the upside. So there that name goes, and there goes Palantir as we lose on that name. The name that we love to the long side, we are short on Palantir. So that name continues to make moves to the upside here. And yeah, I need to find some longs. We were long. We made some good money on PayPal longs. We made some good money on some Ford long. Ford longs was really good actually down here as well. We don't have the bottom, but that Ford was a great long back up. So we need to find some more right now as the market's going to probably turn green right now. Unbelievable move back in the NASDAQ. Crazy, crazy day. It's turnaround Monday maybe here for the NQs.
Movement Monday.
What's up, Brendo?
We were talking a little bit earlier, guys, about some ETFs. Just saw this one. The home builders even getting a big, huge bump today on volume as well. So, I mean, take your pick. Individual stocks in this group also at day highs currently.
And it's like you just said it with Palantir. I wish I could believe that we'd get even higher on Apple. But when I see how it already turned off this level at 160, it just had a refreshing order. A set of orders at 159.60 to 65, in that price range, just kept battling. I took it off. This is right in front of the target anyways. It's going to be able to play out pretty nicely. I'm probably going to end up losing on the Virgin Galactic, but I'll be happy with the Fisker and the Apple trades that we're able to put on here. And I hope we can essentially break out of this top. There were other names that we're looking at for potential top breaks. Well, Lucid's right here. It never quite got there. So it went green on the session. So if you're looking at the previous close, 37.75, the only reason I pointed out that it made a wick higher was it's a little bit of a trap to look at that number and not note that, hey man, it kind of went to 37.85 in the morning and flushed from there. So it might have some trouble just sort of sticking past that 37.75. It has to get through 85, maybe even the 38 level before it breaks out. And you're seeing it even in the midst of this rally. It's just barcoding off the top, set up pretty nicely for one of those late day runs here. And this is the type of name that could have some juice in the aftermarket. Hasn't turned green just yet or even held it, but Lucid getting really, really close on the top. And it's Virgin Galactic just teasing me. It's gone 250 3 times here and just refuses to break out. So I guess I'm not stopped out just yet. I do feel it's inevitable. I did think that there would be another opportunity in GameStop as the market rallied, but it was 100 or bust where it got to right at 2 o'clock. We came back on. As I'm talking about GameStop, the morning trade is exactly when GameStop was going to the 100 level. So opportunity cost right there. And the last one, which I know was relatively weak all morning or all afternoon, is starting to break out as well, and that's a DWAC. I'm not going to fight this. This would have been, if I'm putting the DWAC on, it would have been it breaking back downside and the market coming in. That's not happening. The market's breaking out here. I'm not going to fight that one going into the close. At this point, it's either Virgin Galactic stops me out. Maybe we get a break on Lucid. Fisker at $12. I think we can look at some of those if they come back to those tops. But otherwise, we got 13 minutes, I think, until the imbalances come out here. And of course, Apple just keeps on. So this is every time it makes a new spike, there's these weird 50 cent to $1 hard candles back down. It finds a resistance point and then just it does one of these dollar dumps. Now it's continuing to churn higher, but that doesn't exactly exude confidence. We've seen these rebound days before, and stocks like Apple, when they find bottoms, usually it's just bang, 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 up, bang. It might slight pullback, bang to the upside, slight pullback. Not these long drawn out capitulation candles. So that's why I'm not necessarily feeling just hold along into the close at will because we're going to rally and go green on the session. I wish I had that feel. I hope it happens, but that's not the way I decided to approach Apple today. We'll see. And I hope I'm wrong because that will mean that maybe it breaks 160 and goes another $1 or so, which would be fantastic overall.
Yeah, we're into a new position here. It is going to be a short of AMC. We did notice this wick here all the way to the upside. I feel like someone marketed out, or I don't know if that was a flat or what, but we were trading down here at 1660, and then all of a sudden it ripped up to 86.87 and stopped. So I'm going to short that pop. If it takes it out, we'll get out. But for right now, that's a name that we're shorting into this market here, and we'll see if it gives it back up. But AMC is not going to follow the market as much, but we'll try a short. I know that a lot of you are long AMC, and it's been such a great run up from the bottom today. We touched down, and I don't know what we were down at the very bottom here, but 14.20, like 14.25 for AMC. Like, this just seems crazy low, man, on a lot of these names. And what about Disney? You know, one name that's at its 52-week low that hasn't bounced at all, Disney, right now, getting in a lot of trouble. I mean, they bounced off huge, but still, its 52-week low before today was 163.60, so we still are below. They still are negative, but a nice bounce off 129. The reason why we looked at this is I was wondering if this name was going to go red to green, but we still have a little bit of work to do on that. But we are near these highs of 136. Yeah, we're right there right now. So Disney, another name that we've talked about lately that's just been getting absolutely killed. Like that printed down here today, guys. Like real talk, 130, guys, for Disney. So that was like, wowzers. Microsoft all the way back as well right now. We could check out SoFi back to 13 and change. So that's been a great number. It's bottom today, 1180. You could see the same thing, man. We tried to trade SoFi and then it just broke. So we're going to have to watch out. Today's turnaround was about 10:30 and then we retested again around noon. So, you know, maybe some timing there coming through that we'll pay attention to tomorrow. Big move down, but you can see right now we are holding some of these highs. The biggest example that I can show you guys out of anything is NVIDIA. NVIDIA touched 208 today, and now you're up $22. Looking bad there, but there's NVIDIA all the way down to $2. That takes us back to just October bottom. So that's why, you know, again, if you find some names that you like, this had some support down there, just like AMD did as well. But, you know, these names just continue to work as the NASDAQ right now going green. Amazing turnaround for the NQs today.
Oh, and that just reminded me of something, because the name in the morning show that I was trying the bottoms on was General Motors, and it worked. And then I reloaded it at lunchtime, and oh my goodness, that's going to age poorly. I got stopped out at GM at $49.40. Yuck, it went 4 more pennies, and now we're at $52. Still down on the day. Like, the stock's still down on the day, but still at $52. That's a great return rally, and we're still churning here to the upside. I feel like we put a countdown. Like, I mean, I know the close is coming, and we're 20 minutes to the close, but forget that, man. It's like the countdown until the NASDAQ turning green, because we're at 0.1. We got to 0.14. We're at 0.19 right now. It's almost like that's what I want to chase. That's what I want to see here, especially those imbalances coming up. But we're getting real close. I know the ES trailing. Maybe it gets there, maybe it doesn't, but the NASDAQ rebound is an unbelievable story. And there were so many strong names. We talked about some of the chips getting into that upside. I'm still hoping that you might get a late push in something like a Lucid. It's running out of time for a break of this high. Like, you know, I'm saying I'm hoping it happens, but it doesn't feel like it's going to. Like, that and Fisker, maybe we're going to see tomorrow. You know, like, that's, you know, those are levels you can play off. That $12 on Fisker, you can play it either direction, hopefully tomorrow morning. This 38 level on Lucid, maybe we can play off of that tomorrow. Looks like Apple continues to try to get to that 160 mark, and then again, goes to 159.90 and then turns right back around. So to me, getting out of it, that was the right thing to do. This is the kind of day where I'm happy to take the profit. If I get the perfect trade or we get the perfect levels with about 8 minutes till imbalances come, that's fair, but I'm not going to force my way into anything at this particular point. Just want to make sure I've canceled all my stop orders because I don't want anything triggering on me. Should be a volatile 350, I would expect, the way we had this move back here in the markets, but the grind has been strong in this one today.
Yeah, the grind is real for sure today as we grind like crazy. I have like over 500 fills today. And then look at this, AMC one more time here. We just got some out at 55, like no idea there what wound up bringing this to the downside, but we shorted it again and got some out there at, you know, 55 is our very bottom. We'll see if it wants to flush even more now, AMC. Remember, our first out was 75, then we took some more there, 65, 66 is, 66, 67, and now it's starting to flush a little bit more to that downside. So we're out of Palantir as that, again, like shorting out right there quickly on that as that started to turn around. But the NASDAQ may start to see some downside pressure now. So I think one more short here, maybe on Palantir into the close. We could see it's just made a high there of 33. So we could short this into Palantir's high of 33 as we watch AMC. AMC continue to make moves to the downside now. No real targets for this. We'll see where it wants to go from here. I'm just more upset that we still don't have. Oh man, we were.
Oh, now you're gonna get me into GameStop.
Yeah, is GameStop moving finally?
No, it's not moving. That's like it's barcoding off 97.50 to 98. As I just look over and see in your chart that AMC is moving down. And it's like this is I mean whatever. Like this, look at the risk reward
Holy
here.
shoot.
If I can get why am I even sitting at 75? I should have been sitting here trying to get 50s and just saying risk 50 pennies and then try and work it back down to like 96 and then to VWAP when I'm seeing AMC roll back and I'm staring at this thing. The problem is, just like this morning, and we had to be very careful shorting it into a roll up instead of just grabbing it in the middle of a range, is the spread is still tricky on GameStop. Like it's tightened up to like 10 to 15 cents, but when I was trying to throw the offer in, it was like a 40-cent spread on GameStop. So I might end up missing this trade, but that's what I should have been looking for. Well, you kept mentioning AMC, and I'm sitting here oblivious to the fact that it's pulling back and GameStop was going sideways, but it's a little tricky to get that film. Hopefully, I mean, if it can give a little spike up, and then I can try and hit the bid, that would be a much better way to get in, but the spread is a huge problem here.
Yeah, spread is definitely not good right now. I still can't refresh my blotter, so I'm gonna have to make sure that I have all these trades. AMC right now still going to the downside. Oh, we're right at that level for AMC. So let's definitely put a bid out right now. We are bidding actually 41s right at. That just bounced off that, darn it. We are bidding right at that level for AMC. Let's just take a 45, why not? Cancel, there we go, cancel out 41s right now. So there it is, a nice little out on AMC as we've been shorting this name. So hey, good on us. And we noticed that level, so yeah, I'm not super happy. I mean, we did get stopped out of Palantir as now that's making finally, like screw you Palantir, honestly. It's what I get for trying to go short this name when I do love the long. We were just short a lot up here with a very, very tight stop, and then I shorted a little back down. So it's paying off right now, but we definitely lost on the short going upside here. It was pretty good. Actually, we'll be net probably flat depending on where this goes. If I get the rest out around here, our Palantir afternoon will be okay off that because again, short and out, and then one more short right there and quickly out, and then now we have that 10 pennies or so. So let's see if this can make a move back to the downside. Tilray, like all the marijuana stocks also, guys, today getting killed as Tilray. Look at CGC here. I believe that's NASDAQ. Yeah, down to $7. These are all-time lows here for CGC as well. I don't know if my chart's there it is. Look at this. Just doot, like drip. Like I said, you're better off taking the stocks themselves, rolling them up and smoking them than hoping that you're going to get a return for this. So right now, marijuana, cannabis names continue to get beat out. No revenues. Big problems in this market, guys.
Well, you don't get the actual certificates anymore, so it might be difficult rolling it up. But I like the sentiment there. And
you can ask for them, man.
That's true. You're right. You can get them.
I'll let you know how that goes.
You know what's weird? It's one of those rebound days where, heck, man, even sundial's at the high of the day. And if this was any other time in the session, I'd be all over this. I see a wick top like that. If it wasn't 345, I'd be shorting the stock. Like you said, always go back to the well. And man, it's been good. If you just, someone this morning was just like, yeah, I'm thinking, I forgot who it was in the chat, and apologies, because it was really early. It was a rough night last night, obviously. And they were saying, like, you look at some of the, like the Modernas of the world, it's going to keep shorting those. When you have a stock that's working for you and you get downtrend, the same way a firm was working, like if you just look at Sundial, since it's been rolling towards this 50 mark, and now that it's broken 50 cents, it just might continue like a short to pop situation until it's back above 50. So when it's $1, it's $1. When it's 50, it's 50. We're seeing that on Sundial. And come on, Apple. We're not getting green on the day, I'm telling you, unless Apple breaks 160. Like that's going to be the test. Brendo?
Just looking at Unity Software, another one kind of looking the same. But yeah, I guess this was right now. I was wondering if this was earlier this morning. Apparently right now, they're just announcing the acquisition of Ziva Dynamics. So I'll read into this a little bit and let you know what's exciting. But day highs here for you guys.
Unity. Yeah, we love Unity software. That's another name here that you could definitely get yourself into at these levels. I think Unity is a good buy here. And yeah, that's about that for that. Yeah, we will look at Unity. Right now, we're into Palantir. It looks like it's going to take out the high right now. So Palantir, we can't give this, did I give it too much more room? I can't even tell anymore because of my stop orders are all over the place right now. Yeah, we got to give this to the high. Oops, that's still AMC, my bad. We're going to give this to the high, 1335 right now, taking that out. Yeah, just a little bit higher than that. 1335 for Palantir is where we think this may be going. That's going to be my next stop out. I don't know. Will the NASDAQ go green? Like, I'm just going to bet that it doesn't. And if it does, then we get out at 1335. But we only have 13 minutes to go. So who knows, man? The imbalances are coming out in 2 minutes. So let's just wait to see what happens. Takes it out, man. We're gone on this one.
Yeah, Chief Gorilla, you know what's up, man. Of course, when I'm singing Unity, I'm talking about Chappelle's Show. And you guys got that reference, I hope. There is 160 on Apple. Yeah, baby, we're going to go green on the day. Like, there's no way. Every pullback is being bought up. I get it. And someone made a good point in the chat, and they're absolutely probably right about this. Like, when I said there's like program buying, which is sort of selling every single up rally in Apple, even though it's on an uptrend, yeah, it's probably someone just taking risk off going into earnings. That makes a ton of sense to me, but it doesn't matter. It's still getting supported on this move back up. I know it's nowhere near, it's still actually nowhere near like the 930 highs, getting to that 161, but it does feel like we have a pretty good chance. 160's been broken. It's putting higher lows all the way through, and you know what? I didn't pay spread and chase GameStop, so I'll be at least a little bit proud of myself. It ended up that if I had gotten the fill, I would have just been immediately stopped out at 98 and just lost like 50 pennies plus slippage or whatever it would have worked out to. And now it's back at 100. We're way too late in the day for me to have shorted the 100 level with only 1 minute till the imbalances come out. But yeah, it's been a absolutely spicy afternoon. We'll see what happens when they come out. But a lot of these names that have made these crazy runs from the top, look out to see like any of them that have massive sell imbalances coming into this, because that'll be a sign that people are looking to dump heavily going into the close and just taking the auction to be able to sell at these highs. Hopefully, only a 0.25% to go on the NASDAQ. Watching some GameStop here. I'm still watching for, it's not going to happen on Fisker. Fisker is just holding off of that 12 level. And same thing with Lucid. Like, neither one of these two, while consolidating at the top, as the market keeps grinding higher, neither one wants to break out. So that's a bit of a disappointment because those levels look pretty fantastic on the 15-minute chart. And to have a lack of follow through means they're real resistance. And I shorted Fisker. I did not short Lucid off this level, and I'm kind of wishing that I had done so. Fisker was good. Lucid could have been just as good. You can see just no desire to take out this top and go green, despite the market going green in right there.
Right there, yep. The imbalances are out, so.
Oh, that was 350.
That might have helped, yeah. So right now we are short into Palantir, just waiting to see where these imbalances are.
All green.
Right now, it looks like they're probably, yeah, there it is.
All buys.
The NASDAQ, big time movement to the upside right now. So yeah, all buys here. So we will most likely, which is fine. It's not a huge position. We will get stopped out above 1335 right now. We just thought we would take this name in case they came out as monster sells. But like, look at that, man. The NASDAQ is back. And I was joking about we might have seen the high, but hey, or the low, but there it is, man. The NASDAQ, temporary bottom today. Will we go 4% more than where we are right now? I don't know, but I'm pretty proud of myself for that one. We bought some SMH today as well. Whoops, SMH in the doldrums today. Is that an NQ? Yeah, at 264. So far so good on that one. We do realize it can go the other way real quick. So good so far, but here we go. Pfizer, Intel, they're all buys. We will get stopped out of Palantir here. This was just a shot in the dark to see if it does hold the day's high, which is not really right here. It's just kind of like this little peak high right now. So we'll see if Palantir fades into the close. We have this, but with 10 minutes left, so happy that this day turned around, man. Going home and checking the account would have been pretty nasty if that fall continued to happen. So this move does help. Clover, everything way off its 52-week lows now.
You know, to be honest, like this morning, in the morning when I tweeted like the stocks that I'm looking at and just a little bit of a sentiment, this morning was like the first time I was basically like, can we just please have a green day? Because I was like, I'm still actually not in a good mood. Like, don't get me wrong about this. I'm happy. It's been a good trading day, and the market's green. I'm still not happy about the Bills thing, and I'm probably not going to be okay with it for an entire offseason. But, you know, it's been an unbelievable rally. Like, here's a list of names that have turned green in the day. Affirm is up 1.2%, like AMAT 2.5, like Amazon reversed to go up 1%. That was down 4% at one point. I mean, some names like Alibaba haven't gotten there, but this morning when I was showing when I was doing the quote board of what I had and sort of sorted by positive, there was nothing in the green today. It's like I've been like dishing on Silvergate. That went back to $100 it just touched. Roblox up 3%, DraftKings up 3%, Facebook 1.5%, Beyond Meat up 1%. There was like 2 or 3 names that were in the green that were on this board. Robinhood literally turned green. Like Virgin Galactic stopped me out and went green. Like even the junk went higher today. I mean, whatever. I still don't think you should be buying those, but that's neither here nor there. I think you're not there yet. But Affirm, like I got stopped out at the high of the day. We're right back at the top. So, right at that 58.50 top. So we'll see. Apple now at 161. I took out the long, decided not to hold it into the imbalances. Clearly that was the wrong decision. But hey, you've got to play towards your strategy. I'm happy to see it continue to run. This time, because of the positive imbalances, there's no pullback on Apple right now. I know the market turned green. By the way, Apple still has a chance to turn green. It's got to go another $1 from here.
Oh, Apple's not green yet?
Not yet.
Yeah, okay. Nicole Harris, what's up? It looks like your riot is just kind of chilling out right now, so that's good for you on that super chat. I would still take some out in case. Remember, Bitcoin just rallied because of the NASDAQ there, and market's starting to get back to maybe some usual levels. So I would just be very, very careful with some of those positions. J&J, we have some earnings today as well. I'll leave it to Valeria, but if you can hit the like button, that'd be great at certain points as well. Tesla back to 927 today. Wow, on that one. I mean, we talked about buying this at 900. We probably should have. What about 850 today? Just up $75 from the bottom. Nothing that much. What's up, Brendan?
All right. A few minutes ago, I was just reading, wow, the ES 190 points off the lows today. That's crazy for the ES. A few, as we said, the big names coming later in the week. Tomorrow we get Microsoft. Wednesday is Tesla. Thursday is Apple, all aftermarket. So here's what's coming up tonight and tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and I think, like, obviously we talked about Apple not getting green. Yeah, like another name which, like a tremendous rally from the bottom. But J&J is actually not even green right now. Looking at that, down 1%. It's a little bit surprising to remember, of course, they're going to be reporting. General Electric, I think, is a solid name in there. So it's not the sexy names reporting today, although I'm going to be paying attention to Lockheed Martin because I think that's a name that makes a lot of sense in the current environment. Of course, this rally changing some things for tech. But that's one name that I think I wouldn't have been watching before, but seeing it on the board and thinking about it a little bit more deeply, I want to watch some Lockheed. Clearly the bigger earnings, they're coming later on this week, Apple. And I think Tesla, just from a volatility standpoint, like that's the one, like that could really be a huge, huge mover because its valuation is so completely crazy at this particular point. And someone just asked, why did pins rally early on? I'm going to assume that Pinterest, if it made a rally, it's just because all these beaten names have come off the top. If I'm wrong about that, I'm utterly shocked.
Yeah. Pins shouldn't be going up anytime soon. So AXP is the one I'm looking at today. Again, the financials have been a great, stalwart throughout the whole year until this year happened. So we'll have to watch out here for American Express. I think it gets bought on any weakness. So if you get, a low print tomorrow into the 140s here or something for AXP, I think that's a screaming buy, especially if you believe the world's reopening. AXP continues to make a lot of sense down here at these levels. So, I would do that. And again, as travel comes, things like that, I'm definitely looking to see what American Express has to say. It looks like Shopify didn't stop going up, by the way. This is good.
You know what's weird though?
Charts. What?
Like Pin's move is like much stronger than just comparing to like Snapchat, right? Like if I look at Pinterest, like that's actually really broken back upside. So I'm a little surprised to see that, to be honest with you. I can understand it making a bottom on a day like today. I can understand it getting back and going green and being at $30. The fact that it extended another buck and is up 5.5% is a little bit surprising to me. So I'm not really sure. Like I don't know that there's any news to it. It's still below its most recent support. Like the $31 was the floor, 31.32. So it's not like it's breaking back out. It's just a little bit stronger than some of these other names. But there doesn't seem to be any specific news here. I don't know. Every now and then it's because someone knows something. Maybe someone is interested in buying this thing again. I'm literally guessing at this point.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's any. It could be anything. We have no idea. But like so many crappy names. TDoc up 3%, Chewy up 14%, Shopify. I mean, just names that have been getting hit today. Space up as well. Like there's certain names that have just been getting absolutely killed that are now back up. That Twilio's back up. That UiPath is back up. Even DraftKings, which basically is dead in the water, that stock is back up today as well. Another 3%. Its bottom was 17. Like you want to talk about a move that's right up to the upside today, guys, as well. DraftKings 17.50 up to 20 and change right now.
I'll tell you as much. I'm putting pins on my list right now to watch to call up that chart overnight and then watch in the morning.
Yeah. Look at
like that's
watch out for
it's
Pinterest.
too much. Like that's too much.
Okay, we'll see what happens to Pinterest right now. 31 and I didn't even look at it, so we'll have to look at that as we go. JP Morgan, look at the move back here at banks as well. Goldman Sachs, we could just look at XLF, which is probably good. Goldman Sachs had a bottom today of 320. It's now, again, the charts won't change, but it's up to 344 right now. So a bottom $20 later on that bottom. A good little move for Goldman today. Even Amazon, I mean, you want to talk about something that's really turned around. Amazon, AMZN today gets absolutely killed early and then battles back. I mean, forget about the percentages. It's back up 1.22% today. Touched 2,700 back to 2,900. So $200 straight to the upside. A lot of these key levels got taken out today. Amazon, look at the 50 period. It's not going to do anything. We're way past that. Sorry, the 200 period. Amazon, one of those beat down names that goes all the way back to some of these pandemic lows again. So just be very, very careful. I don't think we're out of the woods yet. Although today, you know, there's a couple good earnings names coming. So we'll see if that
is going to happen.
Set the tide out for those.
We're up 0.5%, 0.6 on the NASDAQ. So remember, I was like, Apple's not green yet. We have what, like a minute to go.
Yes, it's huge.
And we're like, it could happen. We're like 25 cents away from Apple even turning green, which, believe me, like, you know, it didn't really seem like it was very likely. 1 minute to go. I'm going to assume Ms. Fee is going to be on the bell. Worth noting that BAC is still a pretty decent imbalance, by the way. I don't know. Still a couple of million shares to the buy side on BAC. So, of course, now it doesn't want to, come on, load this chart. A lot of people are probably trying to pull this chart up. Yeah, actually just pull back a little bit. So I guess anticipating it's going to pair off. Yeah, it just got cut in half. So 2.4 million to 1, which I guess makes a lot of sense. But Apple, it got close. It got close. It just pulled back off of those highs. 30 seconds to go here. I really thought Apple was going to make that move late and actually close up green. It got really close, though, before ticking like pennies away.
All right, so we have 20 seconds left now. Yeah, I have the imbalances up, but there's nothing happening. Zynga, the biggest one now, right here on the bid. And then Apple actually turned sale right there, sell side. So, okay, here we go with only now, getting close to hitting this with 10 seconds left right now as we go. Yeah, a little premature, but only by a second, I think.
No,
6,
I timed it.
5, 4,
3, bring it.
And there it is, man. A good little rally into the close. Great job, Ms. V. Thanks for that little beat there. Yeah, let's see how the NASDAQ and we won't spoil it for you, but the ES also motoring there at the end of the day. So let's go over to Brendan and see how everything turned out.
Unreal, guys. Absolutely unreal. Bounce there today. The low of the day, the NASDAQ was down 4.7%. Here's how it closed. Yeah, 0.5% to the upside, 4.7 at the lows today to the downside. We're up 0.5%, 0.3 for the S&P. The Dow basically flat. But wow, that was a lot of money being put to work down there.
Yeah, you got to notice the tech names that were a little bit stronger. Like there were some chip names that broke out a little bit more, and then you notice a lot of the Dow names. Like to see J&J down 1%, like that's not reflective on J&J. It's just where people were putting money into the bottoms on some of those names. Like there's been rotation into safer names already, so I think that explains the lag. Apple tried to get there, but you can't. Who cares? It didn't get green, but that's still an impressive rally overall in the market. We'll be happy to take it. We need something to put a smile on the face today after both our teams had difficult.
If you're nervous about your positions, you could just get out today. You had literally, I mean, on some of these names, let's just be real with things here. Like if you have AMD long and you're nervous about this, we touched down today 107. It's giving you 10% back. Like if you're nervous about stocks today, like you you know, this is a monster move back. Shopify, a monster move back. Nvidia, I'm not taking anything out. I'm holding forever. I've already talked about that. I'm not getting out of anything. But I mean, look at this. Look at these moves back. Like, you could save a lot of money on a lot of garbage today. DraftKings with the move back. Like, you're gonna, like, don't expect another $4 move tomorrow in these names. So just watch out for this. Even a Palantir, although a very, very nice rally back into the end of the day, still some downside movements here. I mean, look at this. It's still down, down, down. The fact that you get one green day here, I don't know, man. Just be very, very careful with a lot of these names. I feel like, although I bought back in some Palantir down at 12.05 today, I just feel like those are the levels that you want to buy. You don't want to be buying at the tops here. But thank you so much to Lucas. Thank you so much to Rob today. Thank you so much to Trader Prad that's over there getting ready to get out of there as he's, there we go. Thank you, Trader Prad. Thank you to Ms. V again. Big time thanks to her. Always bringing the brightness back in this dull market, Neil. We didn't have any Tony the Tiger, but he's here. Welcome back, Greg.
He's there.
Greg is back. Yeah, I'm saying we didn't have him today. He's here. Thank you to Greg as well today for all the help on the back, and Maggie and everything. It's been a very, very busy day. And of course, I sort of want to thank Brendan, but I mean, he's always there. So thank you, Brendan, for showing up and being, you know, the rock behind that side of things. So what was a good day today, Neil?
You can't complain about it.
Yeah, you can a little bit.
Well,
that move in the morning was a little bit nasty, but hey, that's what trading's all about. We're here to make some money and have some fun and hopefully educate you guys as well. So on that note, everybody relax. You know, have a deep breath tonight. Reevaluate your plan. If you like these markets, come in hand over fist, because the next couple days, the next couple weeks is going to be nasty, wicked, everything all wrapped into one. It should be a fun one, and we will see you guys tomorrow.